Alright, so now that we've gotten the bombshell out about Mega Man 5, which I'm still surprised by, admittedly. That still blows me away to think about that. But the more I think about it, the more it tracks, the more it makes sense. You know? Like, it's like, I'd love to say Mega Man X1 is better, but the more I think about it, the more it doesn't track. Although it's funny. So far, I've only gotten one comment on the rumination, which doesn't surprise me. You know, usually comments take a while to stream in. But I've only gotten one. That's a great way to put that, computer. I'm a games guy. I like that. I like that. Hey, NTC. I've only gotten one comment on the Mega Man 5 rumination. It says, you're entitled to your opinion, even if it's wrong. And it's true. I am very wrong. So, I had a thought, though, and I wanted to share this on camera. Where the hell is our proper Mega Man support, Capcom? If you've been paying attention to this series... Hang on just a second. Let me just do this. If you've been paying attention to this series, there's a very common trend. Some of the great Mega Man games have been made because it was made by people who are very passionate and wanted to put out a great game. But most of the really good Mega Man games, the ones we all love and enjoy, myself and you all included, have been the ones that they put weight behind. What are the great Mega Man games? 2, 4, 5, X1, X4, X5. These are the great Mega Man games, right? Every single one of them I mentioned, except for 2, had studio weight. And they all sold quite well, just not to the level they wanted them to. Now, thankfully, Mega Man 11 sold extremely well. I've been having a hard time nailing down exact sales figures because it's hard to nail down sales figures in the digital world. But near as I can tell, Mega Man 11 is at the very least the second best selling Mega Man game we've ever had, behind 2. And even that I'm not sure of with total certainty. It's just something that, based on what figures I can find, that appears to be true. But anyway, sorry. So, why the hell has Capcom so utterly abandoned Mega Man now? I know why they abandoned it then. Because of the PSP disaster, because of the X7 disaster, because of internal politics. Now, that last part is a theory, but I stand by it firmly, so that's 3 decisive reasons. Why have they continued to not support the Mega Man series? Now, this is specifically relevant to the review of 5 and of X1, because if X1 had the convenience features and the quality of the collection that Mega Man 5 did, X1 would probably then crawl its way back up into the first player spot. But instead, because the X1 collection is, let's be honest, not that great, it's just a port, it's a bundle of ports, it doesn't have anything that elevates it beyond just the SNES Classic, right? Now, that being said, it is interesting to note that what that means is Mega Man 5, with modern conveniences, is better than X1, but that's because X1 is just that good even on the SNES, so make of that what you will. Anyways, I just wanted to comment on that, because that occurred to me as I was tabulating and dealing with stuff. Mega Man 6, this is a fun one. Speaking of studio weight, nobody supported this one. That's not true. That's actually not true. But Capcom just kind of pissed this one out. I don't mean to sound derogatory, but they really did. They were just like, all right, make another Mega Man. And so development is weird, and I've discovered this a lot when it comes to movies and in games as well. You know, you talk about, they were working on this film, well, they were working on this film. Well, yeah, like when I was going through the Disney ruminations, for example, when I was going through the Disney ruminations, I noticed that they would usually be working on 3 or sometimes 4 movies simultaneously, right? Like alongside each other. Yeah, exactly, Mark Wahlberg. But and that's just kind of, there's just kind of that crossover and that layering, that bleed over effect that you have to just kind of keep in mind. Mega Man 5 was being produced while they were producing X1, but they had shifted the majority of the team, time, and effort to X1 by the time 6 was coming out, while they were working on 6. So 6 was the exact opposite of studio weight. It got this, it was the lowest priority for everyone, and it had the least support from everything. And why is my Steam Labs being weird? I'm so confused by this. I don't know why this is working this way. Whatever. Thank you very, 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 very much, Doomdaven. I am just, I don't know what to say to that. Let me put down my controller so I can bow appropriately. Thank you very, very much. Always appreciate that support. Thank you. I'm glad you like my stuff on YouTube. I'm glad you like my stuff in general. I very much appreciate it. Again, thank you so much. And yeah, you did it correctly. I will go ahead and jot that down for support for Watch Dogs Legion, a game I'm actually kind of curious to try out. A friend of mine, Pax, you might have heard me mention him a few times, he says that Watch Dogs Legion is kind of boring until you get to the DLC, but it's fun. Like, it doesn't have much content, but it's just fun to play around in, kind of a sandboxy game. So we'll see exactly how that works out. I'm kind of curious to try it out myself. It's just... Anyways, thank you again very, very much. Mega Man 6 had very little support. It had the opposite of weight. Anytime anyone was working on anything else, that other project got priority, and they had to skip doing work for Mega Man 6. So I'm actually really curious exactly how 6 is going to rate, because, again, we've got kind of the Mega Man 2 situation again, and it's like, okay. Furthermore, just as a little anecdote, a little trivia tidbit here, Mega Man 6 didn't even come out in Europe until, like 2000 and something. I forget the exact year. It's when the 3DS was out, to give you a bit of perspective. Because they just felt like there was no reason to release the game in Europe. I mean, nobody cares about that. But then again, the game almost didn't release in the States. Capcom said, no, we don't care. Mega Man 6 really was just kind of thrown out, and it was, yeah, okay, fine, here. Here's a yearly Mega Man game while we wait for Mega Man X1. Okay. Now, Nintendo kind of took a couple of steps in and was like, hey. So we've got this brand new NES. It's the top-down. How many of you remember the top-down? How many of you remember the top-down NES? I can't remember what it's called. I keep saying top-down. It's the top-loading NES. You put in the cartridge up top. It's got slightly different bumps on it. How many of you remember that thing? The top loader. Thank you. I knew there was another term for that. I couldn't think of the darn thing. Obviously, I didn't have one. But it was designed to be a much cheaper, but slightly better NES in terms of hardware and capacity. And yeah, you didn't have to do a couple other things to make it work, and it was cool. And obviously, I don't have one. I've got my NES right here. But I know they were trying to push that. And what they did, and this is actually kind of smart in its own way, what they did is they had 3 games that would get bundled with it. And Nintendo just kind of took ownership of those games. They got some profits from the sales, they got profits from the top loader, and of course they got to internally plug a few things and to try and catch what was at the time a dwindling market. But remember, the SNES was still kind of new. It was only 2 years old at this point, and they were still not sure how it was going to do in certain markets. So it was felt like the smart decision, and honestly, I agree with that. So those 3 games are Star Tropics 2, Wario's Woods, and Mega Man 6. Now, the funny thing is, if you are familiar with those games, all 3 of those are good games, too. Like, I don't know how 6 is going to rate against the others, but Mega Man 6 is a good game. Wario's Woods is a surprisingly good puzzle game. Not platformer, sorry. And Star Tropics 2, I mean, enough said, right? So, they had a decent feature, and they had a decent thing, and that is pretty much the big reason why Nintendo took Mega Man 6 and said, yeah, we'll go ahead, we'll release this out in the States. Now, there was another reason, and I don't want to dismiss this, because there was another thing that was important here, and that was, of course, the Nintendo Power Contest. See, they'd done this before, they'd already plugged this before, but this time, when they were bringing in, they got way more support from the West when it came to Mega Man 6. Yes, it was, Ventures. Both of them were. So, way more support in the West. And I mention this because if you were paying attention during the X series, the Mega Man X series always sold better in the West than it did in Japan. Universally, across the board. Mega Man has always been really popular here in the States, pretty much from 2 onwards. I say always. So yeah, from 2 onwards, Mega Man has been super popular in the States. And it's easy to see why. I'm not saying that it's unpopular in Japan. Obviously, it certainly has its thing back there, but you get my point. And so, despite this, Capcom was like, who cares about a Western release? After all, it's not like they buy Mega Man games over there. Which, if you're paying attention, is the exact same attitude they had about the X series. So I just wanted to share that attitude is just something they kept having for a long time. Anyways, during the Nintendo Power Contest, they actually did select two monsters. Wow. Robot Masters. These aren't Pokemon. From here. I didn't write down the names of the people. You can find the names of the submitters. But Windman was designed by someone who was in the United States, and Nightman was designed by someone who was in Canada. And that was the other clarifying thing. Nintendo was like, And so they helped produce it and publish it. And if you actually pull out the physical copy, which I don't have, of course. I have this, repo card thing. But I'm pretty sure, and I'm right. Yep, if you look at the actual physical copy of Mega Man 6, you will not see the word Capcom anywhere on this thing. And that's true for the box, too. If you happen to somehow have a copy of the box of this thing, first of all, you're awesome. But second of all, you can see what I mean by that. No mention of the word Capcom because Capcom didn't publish the sucker. Oh, by the way, I do love I'll show it off really quick. Let's see if I can get... There we go. You can kind of see it. It's a terrible picture. Whatever. Moving on. Point being, Mega Man 6 had very little weight. In fact, it had the opposite of weight and very little support, and almost didn't come out here. Now, this would actually qualify as a second-party Nintendo game, to continue the terminology. I do remember the old Mega Man cartoons, and it is definitely based on just a mishmash of everything. But anyway, so let's go ahead. Let's see how this one runs, shall we? So before we begin, plus to all the stuff, let's just get the collection pluses out of the way. This is what I was just talking about with frickin' Mega Man 5. If the X series had this kind of collection support, whatever. Oh, I forgot to... hang on. I'm a moron and forgot to do something really quick. Sorry, I was really, really rushed trying to get everything done. Give me one... This won't actually take that long. Give me just a moment here. There we go. Sorry, I actually have an archived document of all these reviews to kind of keep... It's the thing that I use to plug them onto the website eventually. Give me one moment. Whoops. There we go. Okay. Sorry. So, all the usual gameplay positives. Oh, you're fine, Gigaman. I like doing stuff like that. It's just I should have been doing this, which, because I'm an idiot. Quality of life features, bestiary, which is useful. I should mention, the existence of bestiary isn't enough. It has to be useful, but it is. We could check. We can see their HP, we can see their visual design, we can see their weaknesses, and we can see a little backstory. So yeah, it is actually useful bestiary. Quick save features, rewind, and okay, so I think it's all of them. Yeah, so that's the 4 generic pluses that all, well, I say all. This is actually the last collection game that's getting all of those. Because the second collection doesn't have all the same features. How's that for fun? Whoops. I do want to show off one thing, sorry, if I can find it. Let's see. I might not be able to find it, because it might not be here. I don't actually remember. I'm just going to look really quick. Doesn't look like it's here. That's a shame. I was hoping for the concept art, so you could see some of the original submissions. That's fine. Whatever. Okay. In the year 20XDX, the first annual robot tournament was held, which is a great idea, by the way. With 8 of the world's most powerful robots. 4 elemental and 4 warriors. However, Mr. X, the sponsor of the tournament, took control of the robots and began to take over the world. Mr. X, why? It's time to tell you the truth. I have been manipulating that fool Dr. Wily from the beginning. But now I no longer need Dr. Wily's help. Come and face my power. totally not Dr. Wily. It's definitely not him. Don't worry about it. God. You know the shame of it? Okay. I know this doesn't count for canon, but Mr. X is a real person in the Archie comics. In fact, in the Archie comics, there's actually a decent amount of backstory for Mr. X and it's the World Robot Organization, I think. And the World Robot Organization is actually the one who sponsors this tournament under the auspices of Mr. X. Mr. X shows up in the timeline in the Archie comics as early as Mega Man 3. His whole shtick is he's a wealthy, he's super wealthy, he's super well off, and he's someone who has been trying to throw money into supporting robots because he thinks, but philanthropist is what you're thinking there. So, if you think about it from that perspective, this whole, Mr. X reveal would make a lot more sense. If they'd actually built up to this might have actually deceived 1 or 2 people, maybe 3. Because, it's, right? It's like, okay, we've got this whole lead up, and there's this background element of Mr. X who's helping this stuff and all that kind of thing. And then, oh my god, Mr. X was behind it the whole time. No. Yeah, like Mr. Stark is actually a really good example of that. Except without the inventorness, just the financial side of things. But no, Mr. X is just Wily. In fact, we're not even sure in canon if there ever was a Mr. X. There presumably was, but whatever. So, you know the rule. Anybody who hasn't played this game before, give us an order. Okay, so we're starting with... Hang on, So we're starting with Wind, and then Centaur, then Tomahawk, then Knight, our Canadian entry, then Yamato, then Plant. Second, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're missing 2. Who are we missing? We're missing Flame and Blizzard. So should we do first? Flame or Blizzard? As usual, please feel free to shout out your favorite song on this one. I'm actually going to have to think about this one. Flame and then Blizzard last. That's kind of a weird order, I'll be real. So, yeah, Wind it is. So, they did something which I actually like, and they wouldn't continue in almost any of the other games, except they would do this in the Battle Network series, and I believe in the Star Force series as well. They added stats to the characters. It's not a big deal, it's just a nice little thing. We also get a name for the stage, too, and a title for them. I don't know, I just thought that was kind of cool. So this is one of the elemental bosses. If you're paying attention, there are 4 elemental and 4 warrior bosses. Those are fan titles, but they do follow some common trends. For example, all 4 of the warrior bosses happen to include pieces of beat, and all 4 of the warrior bosses change the background element depending on which time you're fighting them. Probably a very, very bare-bones concept like the X1 thing, where the stage has changed based on doing them. Yeah, I don't know why they abandoned the concept. I liked that concept, but I'm a weirdo, I guess. Oh yeah, and this game is abso-freaking-lutely gorgeous. This is, in my opinion, legitimately some of the best-looking 8-bit style sprite work ever. But then again, 5 was the... Whoa, that's on me. 5 was the same thing. That was it. Michael Leader. I noticed it earlier when I was looking it up. I just couldn't remember his name. Oh yeah, I suppose I should do this. So, here's our interface. We don't actually start off with Rush Coil for once, which is kind of weird. Hi, Baron. We do get something else, though, which we'll talk about in a minute. Oh yeah, visual distinction is fantastic. Graphics are fantastic. Like, it's probably not getting 3. In fact, it almost assuredly is not getting 3. That'd be silly. But it is absolutely getting 2. Notice we've already got a gimmick for Windman Stage. It is appropriately Wind. But of course, rather than blowing us left or right, it blows us up. And yes, this is still an NES game. We've also got these platforms, which I love this as a concept. I love that idea of a platform that kind of doesn't actually go away per se, but it, at the same time it kind of does, right? You know, forcing you to kind of traverse it in a certain way. And yeah, the Buster, I think it's the same height as it was in 5, but I'm not actually sure about that. It is at the very least certainly leaning the same direction. I'm always weirded out when I go back to 4 and your fully charged Buster is actually really narrow shot. Now, those guys are reskins. Those things are reskins of the Totally Not Gutsman enemies that were periodically in Mega Man 5. This is when Zalok's comment really comes into play here. If you saw the Rumination, or actually saw him commenting on it during the stream, because we addressed this briefly. This game is Mega Man 5 again. Very much so. It's just, you know, that's a good thing, because Mega Man 5 was a really good game. Question is, does it do anything better than Mega Man 5, or is it just another Mega Man 5? Either way, so let's go ahead and give out some pluses immediately. Oh, the pluses. Oh, and a negative. We gotta give away a negative. Hang on. Negative to gameplay. Probably gonna be a bit until we get there, but, you know, whatever. Okay. Yes, blow up Alex. I mean, give me a break. It's the only negative I gave Mega Man 5. There's only so much I can bend. Let's see here. So, no way in hell, Mr. Red. Remember, this is a Thursday, so I got a third stream tonight. Unless... No, I shouldn't even think about that. We will definitely be starting Mega Man 7 tomorrow at the latest. Just all of them, Venters. That's not actually a joke. Where's my Final Fantasy collection on the Switch? Where's my doodads? Thank you. Where's my any of this crap? You know? Okay, hang on. We actually need to talk about that intro. Sorry, we actually forgot to do that. That's on me, so I shouldn't say we. I forgot to do that. I'm stupid. I hit myself in the head with a thing of carrots. Okay, so I don't think the intro to this game deserves a positive to story. Now, that feels weird because 2, 4, and 5 have all gotten pluses to the intro because it's been good in terms of narrative, specifically narrative. But, like, it's ignoring the fact that it's obviously Wily. There's also the fact that it doesn't, there's no hook, there's no design. It's just, we're doing a robot tournament. And my first reaction as a kid and now is like, oh, that's such an awesome question. Could you talk about that? Could you do more world building and new more concepts? A robot tournament sounds so cool. Oh, Mr. X is using it to take over the world. And then there's that one random line, I was manipulating Wily the whole time. And it's like, okay, well, where were you before this? Right? Like, let's just... So I don't think the intro deserves a positive. Correct, Mel Corbley. We have to actually talk about the Mega Man 7 audit run, because format is going to be important when we get to that. But anyways, the question is, does the intro deserve a negative? What are we thinking? Yeah, it's very unremarkable, and it's short, but short isn't a bad thing. Mega Man 2's intro was short, but it was very well done. They did a lot with a little. Same thing with 4. Well, actually, no, same thing with 5. 4 had a whole intro thing, and that was awesome. I'm willing to give it a negative. I absolutely am. I love Mega Man 6, don't mistake me. But the intro isn't just remarkable, it's not good enough to justify not being a negative. Because remember, our band is different. Intros and outros we judge more harshly. It has to be at least a good intro to be a wash. So is this good enough to qualify as a 0 rather than a negative? That's the question that I'm positing to you. I have an achievement I just noticed called The End of Dr. Wily. It's for beating Mega Man 3. I mean, yeah, hazardous, exactly, right? And Dr. Winter gets there. It's come on. I don't expect. Well, okay, I would love to have Final Fantasy Tactics level of storytelling in a Mega Man setting. That would be amazing. But I expect better than this nonsense, right? I'm hearing some mixed answers here. We can keep debating. I'll go ahead and fight Windband while we debate a bit more. Yeah, you notice they dropped the "it wasn't Wily" plot the moment 7 comes along, and that was probably the right move. So, this is Slide the Boss. Many of his attacks encourage you to slide. In fact, all but one of his attacks encourage you to slide. I should probably mention that Mega Man 6 is usually considered one of the easiest classic Mega Man games. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't actually know. We'll find out in a few minutes. But, yeah. I know, Ross. Could you imagine? Could you imagine that depth of character and politicking and consequence and just well-crafted storytelling in a Mega Man game? Because I can. So this is the first time we actually see a preview of these in quite a while. It's a nice little thing. And that was our American Robot Master. Of course he's fat. I'm sorry, that's a dumb joke. That's different. Okay. 8 is considered one of the easiest. Man, I had a hard time with 8. I must suck at these games. Who's next? Centaur. Ancient City. Ability unknown. Centaur Man, who's actually a woman. I'm never going to stop referencing Bob and George. Whoop! That... Oof, okay. That's on me. What's a Yamato? Yeah, that's the question everybody asks. Oh my god. Okay, hang on. Recover for a second here. Get a little enemy spam going on. So this is a weird one. It's a ground seeker, but the moment it hits something, it shoots up, which is just kind of a strangeness. Oh yeah, one of the things the graphics designers did when they were making the stages is essentially the same thing they did in Mega Man 3. They wanted to imply location via the visuals. You know, visual storytelling. Yep, no, I know I screwed that up. So they actually wanted each of these to be a completely separate part of the world. They wanted to... So this is actually one of the first Mega Man games where it's supposed to imply that each of these stages is happening worldwide. This is actually Greece, I think, for Centaur Man. I forget where all of them are off the top of my head. I apologize, but... Oh, God, Loner. That actually took me a moment to realize what you were referencing. That actually took me a bit. Ooh. Oh, come on, game. Oh, whatever. Ooh. Yeah, I know Tomahawk Man is northern Central America somewhere. So this is one of the cooler parts of this stage. Upside down underwater sections. They're just playing around at this point. Look at that. Hi, Wolfrix. Yeah, I love this gimmick. This stage is totally getting a positive, too, by the way. You even need it to do some of these jumps. Check that out. Love it. Well, if you call me Arshin Guy, I won't respond to it, because that's not my name, or my title, or my anything. But Flame Man is somewhere in the Middle East. I forget where exactly. Yeah, Plant Man is in the Amazon somewhere. Thanks, Eddie. Appreciate you, buddy. That's right, they're air-water ships. Who got their first Final Fantasy? It was actually Final Fantasy. Because Final Fantasy 3 predates this. Pretty sure. Yeah, no, it does, it does. I don't know why I'm questioning that. Of course it does. Whoop! Whoops. Whoops again. Yes, soon we will see Otto, and how terrible he truly is. I do like Eddie. I think it's a good concept. It's essentially a better version of the question mark blocks they had in 3. I don't know why I said essentially. It is literally a better version of that. That's even by intent on behalf of the developers. Yeah, no, this is a gorgeous game. You see why I gush about these graphics. I don't think I can reach that. No, Otto's actually cool. I'm referencing something that we will discuss tomorrow when we get there, and it'll be really obvious. Yeah, I can't make that jump. Alright, whatever. Yeah, compare that waterfall to Mega Man 2 to really compare and contrast. In fact, I don't even have to... Oh, whatever. No, wait, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. I'm gonna make you see it. Because I have that power. Okay, so... Save. Look at that, right? Just look at it for a second. And look at that. I mean, ignoring the fact that Twitch probably can barely even process that, it's just noticeably better quality to go from that to this. That's just... It says so much about how much better they've gotten at making sprite work, you know? And I like to show those because I know we all understand that, but I always feel like it helps add to the moment to really demonstrate just how much better the sprite work has gotten in this series. So I don't remember anybody's weaknesses, so this should be fun. Nope, I'm not gonna make it. Telling you, it's Centaur Woman. I'm sorry, for those of you who don't get that, that's a Bob and George joke. If you don't know what that is, don't worry about it. I would agree. I tend to not like most of the boss songs in this series, as I've said several times. Yeah, the other reason that boss got me is I walked in with very low health and only had 1 life left because I keep doing stupid things like that. Yeah, Mega Man 3 has some good boss music, and so did 5, and so does 6. I feel like I liked 8's too, but I'm trying to picture it in my head and I'm failing at it. And I can't picture 9's, 10's, or 11's off the top of my head. One of the accusations I've heard leveled at 6 is that it's literally a reskin of Mega Man 5. As in, literally. I don't think that's true. Ignoring the obvious fact that, you know, there's gimmicks and concepts and physics in this game that didn't exist in Mega Man 5. I don't know, I've just never felt that way. I could be completely wrong, who knows? Wouldn't be the first time. Listen, we all know centaurs are superior to minotaurs, okay? It's just it's a rule of nature. That's another reason why the collection is so good, though, Malachor. Now, this does not count as cheating, but let's assume for a moment that I'm fighting the boss right here. And I'm like, oh my god, die, boss. Oh no, I died! And I can just rewind a bit. And recover. As I've said many times, and I absolutely stand by it, the rewind feature is an amazing feature that has been added to game design, and I'm really glad that more games are starting to do that piecemeal as we get on in the years. That's just such a cool concept. Hey, Warcraft code! Oh my gosh. I'm doing well. I'm playing Mega Man. Hard for me to do better than that. I cannot believe the X Collection has so fewer features than the Classic. Even Classic 2 Collection has less features, I believe. We'll find out in a minute, because 7 is next, and, well, that's where we're playing it. So 7 and 8 might be rated worse because we're rating the collections. That should be fun. It's actually... So, it's not spreading hazardous, which I know sounds, but... The fact that it's slowly becoming less flooded and has stopped spreading is awesome. Because it means at the very least we might have temporarily solved it. And hopefully we've permanently solved it. Oh yeah, the rewind in Fire Emblem 3 Houses was just such a great feature. By the way, you might find this amusing, Wolf Alex. I was looking up because someone asked me what my favorite... What game was the lowest rated sushi game? And it was actually Fire Emblem 3 Houses. God dang it. I'm gonna go burn it. I don't feel like... Well, I don't know what he's weak to. Are you weak to this? Nope! That's doing no damage. Bullcrap, that hit me. Hold that far enough away. Nope, that was not far enough away. Fine. Well, considering we haven't actually finished reviewing 3 Houses yet, it's a good question. And yes, several people have told me that we reviewed the worst route first, so... Oh, but we shall, Wolf Alex. We shall. When we get to it. Assuming we ever get to it. Centaur Flash. Bright Man's power over again. Who's next? Tomahawk. Yeah, I don't think the gameplay score will change much, which is fine. The gameplay scored really high anyways. This is, I think, my second favorite song in the game. Second or third. There's a lot of just... So, one of the things I find weird about Mega Man 6 is most Mega Man games have one or two or three really good songs, right? And then the other songs are okay. And yes, they have Warcraft code. Mega Man 11. Mega Man 6 doesn't have anything that really sticks out in my head the same way that all the other ones do. And yet, Mega Man 6 still has good music. It just has good music throughout, you know? Like, all the songs are good. For whatever it's worth, I actually agree with you, Bullet Alex. We'll see when we get to the second run of that, like I said. Because I thought... Well, I can't look right now, but I thought during the audit I actually gave pluses to characters. I'm not sure about that. I might not have, because I was specifically thinking that I'll wait until we go back and replay through it. I'm not sure. It's one of the two, because I actually agree with you. I do think several characters deserve individual positives in that game. Like, quite a few. At the very least, Bernadetta. I mean, come on. Bernadetta's amazing. Yeah, exactly. Pillars of Snow. Unfortunately, we don't have any of this stuff. We need to do this. I guess I can show off some of our weapons, because the weapons are pretty decent on this one. Yeah, I love... By the way, this... Anyone remember this background? Because I used this for the Trek rewrite. This is for Episode 1, specifically. So this is how this weapon works. It just carries them off into the air. I love that. Bye! I don't remember who Lysithea is, so I'm just gonna say that I completely disagree, because I have perfect knowledge of that character, whoever they are. Yeah, it's good stuff, Warcraft code. In all seriousness, Mega Man 11 is a good game, in addition to being, you know, a modern-looking game, so I highly recommend Mega Man 11. Okay, so it looks like I didn't actually go through. That makes sense. That does line up with what I was just saying. So, hopefully, that will spread out a little bit when we get up there. Okay. I'm getting killed by Mets! I don't think we got that character, Ross. On our route. I will admit, I kind of wish Three Houses was a little bit shorter, because that was a really long game. And I don't have the Power Buster, so I can't do anything. I can't do anything! I can't collect any of the optional stuff, because the order we're doing things in. Thanks, guys! Oh, me too, Richard. Me too. How many lives do we have? Okay. And he's weak to plant. Oh, that's right. Three Houses has a New Game Plus feature. We'll need to judge how good that is, too. And yeah, there's DLC we need to touch as well. Of course, Cookie Dude. Who hasn't? I mean, surely there's people who haven't... Look, shut up. I'm a geek. What do you want from me? Oh, we're playing Mega Man 6. These have been sitting on my desk this whole time. Check it out. I'm gonna geek it up here. This is so stupid. So I was practicing my drawing at about the time X1 came out. I've already shown you that. That's this guy over here. That's a copy of X. But hang on, I'm gonna jump down here super quick so you can see me. Because I was practicing my drawings and trying to figure out... I know they look terrible. But I was trying to practice getting used to proportions and stuff, and so I would try to do these just from sight, just from trying to look at it and see if I could actually manage it. And they're on cardstock. I cut them out and put them on cardstock, and I got a few of these here. They're all Mega Man 6 characters because, again, this is what was coming out at the time. There's Tomahawk Man. You can kind of see him there. And Yamato Man. Couldn't quite figure out his spear without making it weird, so we just kind of allow him to be there. I'm actually probably the most proud of the Yamato Man one, because I think that turned out reasonably well. And one last one, of course, we have Flame Man, because he's cool. Gotta have the cool. I just wanted to show those off. These have been sitting on my desk so I can show those off during this run this whole time, and I completely forget until we're already on the second stage. So we'll just put this up there. Anyways, let's go ahead and go back up to the game. Stop geeking out for a second. So jump at me and shoot. Right. Ah! I'm gonna die. Hey, Nexus of Concordia. I don't remember the arc. The dog. God damn it. That's okay. I kind of expected that. Thank you, Sparrow Hank, very, very much for that sub. If you happen to know where you want to put that, please let me know. Either way, thank you very, very much. One moment. No, and by consequence, no, respectively, Warcraft Code. First of all, I don't have a lot of spare time in general. Second of all, the only MMO I've been playing really lately is Guild Wars 2, so... I'm glad you're liking it, though. I've mostly quit WoW, and by mostly, I mean completely at this point. I'll probably go back to it when the expansion's over. This is a pretty common... Yeah, and FF14 prep. I wasn't counting that, because that's mostly just leveling. In fact, that's entirely just leveling in preparation for the run. What my friend and I do... I'm sorry about the time difference, Sparrow Hank. I swear, I stream as much as I can, so as many people as possible can join for the live streams. I swear, it's part of the reasoning behind the huge stream grab that we do. But anyways, thank you again. I'll put it towards Dealer's Choice. Much obliged. The words. One of the things that my friend Pax used to do when it came to several MMOs, including WoW, was he would do a thing where he'd jump in at the launch, play through, and then he'd drop the game and wait a couple years until the final patch, the final content patch goes in, and then he'd play it again. And that's kind of where I'm at. Whenever the final content patch comes out, probably in about 1.5 to 2 years, I'll probably pick up WoW again and then go through it. Yes and no. We've gone through Shadowbringers, Richard. We haven't finished going through the rest of FF14 yet. Okay. I'm jotting down a couple of potentials here. Oh, I want to play ESO someday. I do. This is going to sound weird. I've lately been in the mood for ESO, which sucks because it's not happening. I have absolutely no time to play ESO. Looks like ESO is not on the list right now. All we have on the list right now are FF14s, the Tors, and WoWs. I'll take the stage a little bit more seriously. Let me be very, very, very clear. An ESO low run is not happening ever. Capital L low run. I want to be very clear about that. Because we're also never doing a capital L low run for anything else ever again. Now, having said that, every game we go through, we discuss elements of story and level design and gameplay. So every game we do a lowercase low run on. I just want to be nice and clear about that distinction. I don't want to be false advertising. I can't say anything about FF11. And that's all I can say about FF11. It's not the worst MMO I've ever played. I'm sorry, I'm being cheeky. I apologize. I have played several MMOs worse than FF11. I've played Star Wars Galaxies. And there goes the other half of my viewer base. Love that background. Oh, ESO has been in a good state for a while. It's just... So, I have extremely little spare time to play with friends. And it's very, very carefully sectioned out in terms of schedule, right? What that means is we kind of have to decide well in advance, and we have to have consensus on what we're playing. So right now, Guild Wars 2 is it, and that's what we're playing through. So I effectively cannot play anything else that isn't on camera until we have consensus towards it. Make sense? I mean, I absolutely could, Ross, but that's neither here nor there. I would still do prep to refresh myself on dates and names, because duh. But I know most of the factoids right now. I can even tell you the very first boss in the game that is not designed to be killed at level 1. And yes, I do mean designed. There's clear gameplay mechanics designed to allow you to level 1 that game, until a certain point in the game. This is bad. God damn it. I do not know how to dodge his feathers. Ah! Well, I'm dead. Listen, sliding is for voodoo magic, okay? There's no slides in this game. Good afternoon, Delbog. Ah! Damn it. Hi. Ah! 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 Apparently, I've just lost all my ability to play video games. Yep, nope, I suddenly can't play video games. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm jittery or something. Let's try that again. No, I probably wouldn't do that then either, Ross. I'd work on other things, like lore crafts. I actually want to do lore crafts for things other than Warcraft. God damn it, don't do that. Dick. Oh, you're just being a dick now. Ooh, that was actually a little close. Yeah, why do people ask that Warcraft code? I never get that. No. The Lorecraft, it's a form of trying to tell the story of a particular game in a easily digestible format that doesn't miss out on details. So it's actually quite challenging to do because I have to summarize without losing nuance. Make sense? So I sit there and I try to really map out and hash out the specifics of showing it and all that fun stuff. And in terms of the World of Lorecraft series, I also have visuals going to, so you have visual elements to identify alongside it. It's a whole format. I'm actually really happy with how the World of Lorecraft series has been turning out. I'm amazed. It's one of the best things I've ever produced, in my opinion. And I absolutely love the idea of doing future Lorecrafts, you know, for like Final Fantasy series or Mega Man or whatever else. But anyways, who's next? Nightman. It's another warrior. Powered by solar power. Huge defense. Yep, nope, okay. Because he's turbo dead. And he's never coming back. Unless we one-up him, obviously. I do like the previews. If anything, that's a little bit of world... Oh, jeez. Christ Lord, why do I suck today? I just smashed through Mega Man 5 in 2 hours, and apparently I just lost all of it. It's gone. You know what I should do? I should do this. Actually, no. I know what I'll do. I'm gonna walk away from the camera. Yep. I'm just gonna do this. And on my out. Peace! I love the visuals of this game so much. And yeah, Shovel Knight, totally. It's just... I do like those intros, though. I do. Nightman is weak to... existential... No, Nightman is weak to guns. Or... economic disparity. I don't know, I could go with a lot of ways with that joke. Love the detail. God, look at the detail on this freaking game. Oh, sorry. Gush. So if I snap Rock out of existence and Dr. Light had a once and only time it could teleport anyone to his world to replace Walk, who would be the best hero to make it through the games? Probably Mario, in all honesty. I know that's kind of a cliched answer. But, I mean, come on. It's not like Mario hasn't dealt with robots before. Why is this in a museum? I don't think Halo Infinite has been funded. Did you know I have a website where I keep track of that kind of thing? But I'm pretty sure Halo Infinite... Oh, bull crap! Hasn't been funded yet. Yeah, there's actually good brickwork. Check it out. I meant to do that too. Yeah, there's this thing called a site on the web. I know it's strange. It's this brand new concept. Well, I don't know who Arshian Guy is, but that loser has too hard of a name to both type and spell. Hang on, how many lives do I have right now? I'm gonna die, on purpose. I'm gonna refill my lives here. Xbox Infinite is on the PC. Boop. That's actually a requirement for allowing it to be funded, was the things I looked into. Just realized we're gonna have to go back to like several of these stages because we don't have any of the power-ups we need to get any of the other power-ups. Well, the general idea is that what we're seeing is a complete reactor meltdown, Warcraft code, and Rock and most Androbots have very powerful reactors, like actually as strong as real-life building reactors are. Kind of powerful reactors. So imagine an actual meltdown of a nuclear reactor, and you kind of get the idea of what's happening in lore when Rock explodes. In all honesty, it should probably do a hell of a lot of damage to the surrounding terrain, but of course this is a NES game, so there's only so much we can do to show that. Not that I'm saying he is specifically nuclear powered, I'm just getting across a concept. Yeah, except for Proto Man, who is actually faulty. That's part of his thing. Ugh, there we go. That's true, Valerian. We should just build a bigger robot. We'll call him Gamma. We'll power him with 8 energy crystals we get from other planets. It'll be great. I hope you're here for Flame Man, Valerian, because I think you're going to get a laugh out of that. And looks like we're not doing Flame Man for a few, though, so you probably won't be. Unless I start doing a little bit better in my pacing, because I've been doing pretty sucky to it. Look at this! There's just, you got the things, and you got the brickwork, and you got the pipes, and oh my god, it's so cool looking! Listen, nobody could ever get up to Gamma's head to spin into it, okay? He is invincible, and now it's nighttime. Cool little thing there. These enemies get much harder when you knock their glasses off, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, have a good one, Warcraft Code. I'm glad you're enjoying yourself. Really. Who knows, someday I might play WoW again. Dramatic pause. So this is actually one of my favorite sections of the game. You can see the shades of Springman right here. Bong, 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 bong. Of course, we don't have that power-up, so we can't go down. And in about a year and a half, Warcraft Code. Maybe 2. Depends on how long they take. Hey, look, it's Archer's Ready Room. So this is Nightman. I have no idea what he's weak to. He's weak to throwing a giant mace in my face. Whoa! Kind of a slow... I don't know why. Nightman always struck me as even cooler than most of the others. I don't really have a reason why. I love the visuals. I love the concept of him. I love the idea of a guy who actually has a shield as a robot and uses it. Damn it. And of course, the knight is weak to Yamoto. What else would he be weak to? Oh my god, throw your freaking mace! You jackass! He's just like, nope, 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 and I'm just dodging with 1 effective health. Just come on, dude. Shoot me! I like his background too, that's why I used it for Archer's Ready Room. No, he's just random. Like, he's essentially invincible until he attacks you. That's his biggest gimmick. So you just kind of gotta endure him while you wait. By the way, I have a private theory that I have absolutely no evidence for whatsoever, that Nightman inspired the entire Shovel Knight series. Prove me wrong! Or just tell me it's a dumb theory, that's also acceptable. And then I get hit, then I do it without getting hit, because of course I do. Whatever. I don't remember which one Blessed Shield is, but I probably have, Richard. I've tried out a lot of builds in Diablo 3. Okay. Just jotting up some pluses. Don't mind me. Pluses, pluses, pluses. Okay, moving on. Who's after Knight? Yamato. Okay, yeah, I've done the Captain America build. Night Crush. It shoots a giant mace at people. The Impregnable Fortress. Guess where this one is, if Mount Fuji over here doesn't give it away. As usual, feel free to shout out if you hear your favorite song, by the way. Just a fresh reminder. Hey, it's one of those aliens that Hoshi negotiated with. Is it Night Chain? I thought it was Night Crush. No, doesn't matter. Jeez Louise. Just dropping a bunch of junk in my face. That's the one. Ross. And I know that's in the existing Trek rewrites because it's in the first episode. From the character establishing thing for her. God, I have nothing. Whatever. I might have to actually Google some of these to figure out the exact right order to get all this crap in. Now, this is actually, these two screens are to Paul's room on Enterprise. It's her personal quarters. It seemed to fit the motif, and again, it's kind of Vulcan-y, like we already established Vulcan High Command. And it just struck me that that was the kind of thing she would have. It's like a small little water pool to help her meditate, you know? I don't know. I'm a weirdo. I probably put too much thought into which sprites I use for which things and that, but that's just kind of my style. Oh, you heard it here. Spear beats Tomahawk. Yeah, this stage is kind of short and probably won't be getting a positive. Mostly because its branches are its length. So this will be the first stage we don't actually give a positive for. At least until we go through it the second time, because we do have to do several of these stages at least one more time. It's possible to do some of these stages 3 times, depending. I love that attack, because he can shoot 3, but if he shoots the 1, he's got to go retrieve it. Something about that just always amused me. Well, Ant-Man I used to have a lot of trouble with as a kid. Yeah, Mount Fuji, and his name is Yamato Man. Yeah. Plant next. the Forgotten Area. The Flower Fancier. Love the detail on that. That just... Oh, look at that. That jungle, you know? Notice we've actually got transparency effects. Whoa! Getting fancy now. Oh, that's bad. Yep, oh, okay. Retreat. He decided to block. He's like, you're gonna fight me! You're gonna fight me! You can't get away from me! Fine, dude. Die. Jesus. Yeah, comparing and... I mean, I like the visuals on Woodman stage, but this stage blows it out of the freaking water. I don't remember 9's jungle. We'll get there in a few days. Or, well, next week, actually. Oh, hi, Eddie. Thanks, Eddie. Appreciate it. Mini-boss number 1. A giant monkey. Who killed us? Death to the monkey. Or death by the monkey, I guess. Hey, Voltimand. Oh no, I'm having fun. It's probably not obvious, or maybe it is. Hell, I don't know. I've been rather in a good mood, pretty much since Mega Man 4. Which one, if you don't mind my asking, Wolf? Because if it's burger time, that's going to be like a 20-minute review, and it's not going to review very well. I'm just going to tell you right now. Like, it's not a terrible game, but I don't think that score is going to be super high. Oh, that... Yeah. Yeah. That is a good question. Because I know that, you know, hey, it's part of the point. We want the games to suck. But honestly, there's just a lot of bad game design in that game. You want to talk about fake difficulty. Oh. I will admit I never beat Burger Time. But I also have to admit that that's because I never tried. Yeah, so one of the things that I make the distinction of with Ghosts and Ghouls... Whoa! Okay, this is bad. Yep, no, that's bad. Is that Ghosts and Ghouls is all about the enemy encounters. That's the primary function of its mechanisms. Like, you don't really have platforming in that game, really. Not in the same way you have, like, in a Mario or a Mega Man or even a Castlevania. The majority of your activity is dealing with the enemies, right? And the large bosses. Or Ghosts and Ghouls. I forget which one is which. I'm sorry. Anyways, I do have to say thank you. Thank you, Zobe. Very much, as always. I'll jot that down for Xenogears. Give me a moment here. Listen, please don't kill me. It's okay. Okay, you know what? Go ahead and kill me. I don't even care at this point. Those freaking unicorns. Actually, the wolves are the ones I remember the least bad, but I think those were on the SNES. I cannot put into words how much I am dreading the Xenogears review. I really just I don't know what to make of that, you know. But in the interest of fairness and decency, I can't say no to it, and I can't veto it. It has to happen. It's just, oh. Meanwhile, if you want to really hear someone just gush about Xenogears, go watch Resident Arc's podcast. They're up to, like, part 17 just of Xenogears. Which should say all it needs to about why I'm dreading that run. Sorry, I'm just looking at some of the usual pluses we've been giving out, because several of these also apply here. I'm just trying to make sure that I remember all of them. Yeah, the real reason why I would hesitate on whatever the NES version is called is because of the second route through. Maybe we should just throw up the plus the not the plus the cheat flag and just say, all right, we're cheating, and just safe state our way through the whole thing, right? Uh. Yeah, Xenogears is a nice, long game. It certainly takes its time, for good and for bad. That was weird. I just lost my jump button for a second. Looks like we're okay. Alright, this time I learned my lesson. You get... What the hell? Is my cable giving out? Okay, that's really weird. What is going on here? Please tell me my controller isn't dying on me. I mean, I've got the backup controller. My controller's dying on me. Or something. I should be jumping non-stop, and I'm not. Okay. No, that's the Xenosagas, Richard. Hang on. Let's turn off the turbo. I guarantee you Xenogears will score better than Mega Man X7. If Xenogears doesn't score better than Mega Man X7, I have done something wrong. Sorry, Eddie. Thank you, Eddie, even though you're gone and I died. So I'm just kind of playing around with the jump button a bit. It's one of those funny things. Anybody who's played a game like this knows exactly what I mean. You can always tell when your controls are just a little bit off, even if it's something extremely minute, like just a few frames. A fraction of a, just a fraction of a second. But you can always tell when you're actually playing. And I try to point this out, especially when it comes to games where the controls are, you know, actually bad. Looking at you, X7. It's always kind of hard to convey that without actually having the controller in your hand. Yeah, that's why I test controllers with Super Metroid, because I know Super Metroid intimately, to the point where I will know exactly how every jump, every shot, and every movement should work. And there's a lot of frame-perfect jumps, which I know exactly how to do, and therefore can kind of determine how frame-perfect my controller is, and how accurate the D-pad is, and how precise the jump button is, and so forth and so on. Excuse me. A lot of weapon drops. It might actually be the controller. This is the one I put back together, so... I do have a spare. I think it's the controller. The jump button is just losing inputs periodically. Hang on. Hang on. Let's go ahead and switch to the spare. I'm not sure what it is, actually, off the top of my head. Are you the spare? You are not the spare. You're the PS2 controller. Where did I put the spare? I am playing on PC, yes. It's the Steam version. There's also the double spare, which I hope not to descend to, but if I have to, I can. And there's a triple spare and the quadruple spare, which are worse controllers in every way, but that's why they're the triple and quadruple spares instead of the double spare. Where the heck is my other controller? Ah, over here. Here? Even though there's no reason for me to? I put it up here. That I might have done. Oh yeah, there it is. It's right there. Using the keyboard. You're on crack. I'm not playing Mega Man on a keyboard. There we go. Okay. Ah. I mean, they're halfway there, Ginga Man. They're just not all the way there. So that's, we're just gonna unplug that. I hope this one works. All right, so now we got to do a little bit of rejiggerating. Doing that. It shouldn't be doing that. Why is it doing that? That would be funny, Ginga Man, excuse me. Yes, but also not really, Richard. There are ways to get the Joy-Cons working properly on the PC. I have never succeeded at them, and they're pretty finicky to begin with. We may have to actually do this, so let's do this. Let's do this. Let's just exit the game entirely. And then try this. Okay. This is an interesting problem to have. Okay, let's do this. And then this. Hopefully this won't take me long. Hopefully. No, I prefer not to use a PS4 controller if I have to, but that's my next backup controller. Okay, so that's incredibly unhelpful. Alright, hang on. I'm running into a really stupid problem, and I'm not actually sure how to fix it, so forgive me for the delay here. Well, we'll see, Triaxia. We'll see. Here we go. That's what I want to do. How do I change that? There. That apparently fixed it. I think. Okay, hang on. That's weird. All right, so let's do this, and let's see if that fixed it. I gotta check one other thing really quick here. But that hopefully is fixed. Hey, random. Okay. I think we're good. Nope, we're good. So the issue was this old controller, which is the one that I put back together and was kind of on its way out anyways, had a problem where the B button wasn't working, and so it's like, okay, fine. But this was also, it was acknowledging this as controller 1. And nothing is acknowledging this because this was being acknowledged as controller 2. And so I was trying to force it to acknowledge this one as controller 1, which was the problem I was running into. One moment again. No, 360 controllers are terrible for this kind of thing. The D-pad on those things is awful. Just some of the worst D-pads I've ever seen. Which is, of course, a pretty big issue. Oof, okay. Ooh, this... Yep, nope, yep, that's what it is. Of course, I'm really picky with my controller, so that's what it is. Hello, Zaluk. Oh, God. I'm sorry. This is... Oh, God! What the hell? Ass balls. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Sorry, what, Triaxia? What order do I fall in playing the games? By list, by priority, or by queue? I don't understand that question. Those all mean the same thing. Yeah, turbo. We turned turbo off to see if that fixed it. Speaking of which, it didn't fix it, so let's go ahead and turn the turbo right back on. Boy, that problem again. Jeez Louise, that was terrible. Well, the queue is the games that have actually been funded. If it's not funded, then we don't do a run. So, I suppose by definition, we follow the funding order. Or let's just say the order in the queue. So, the queue is the queue. It is the queue in which we play them. That's the definition of a queue. I like these platforms. To make platforms. And health ups in the flowers, which just kind of makes a weird amount of sense to me. I don't even know how to explain why, it's just... I'm with it. A little close, but we made it. Oh, sorry, MTC. You mentioned the Primus thing earlier, and I completely spaced on that because I was kind of distracted at the time. Will we ever do something like that again? Well, we have been playing D&D semi-regularly, but something like the Primus campaign specifically, no. However, we do every Thursday night play D&D. Now, at the moment, we're playing in someone else's game, but the extant campaigns do continue and have been happening. I haven't really been uploading the VODs because nobody really cares, but, you know, not a lot of demand, not a lot of interest. But they're there. They're even canon. It's like Primus was. No, Trihexia. Oh no, the visuals in this game are really, really good. And no, Richard, you do not. You just have to hold down the button. Hey, the Rush Jet! Holy crap! It's one of our last stages, but we did it. Why is this being weird? There we go. Sorry. Woo! Hang on, I need to test something really quick. So this is the Rush Jet adapter in this one. I like this a lot. I actually think this is a more interesting approach than the actual Rush Jet. It's obviously not as good, but I think it's more interesting from a game design perspective. That's how it works. And it refills when we land. So it's actually got infinite Rush Jet. You just have to land first. And that's about how long it can carry you. Right there. Now you're right, that cutscene sucks. But you can skip it. Yeah, it's a straight up jetpack. And this is cool. Like, I really feel like they could do all... damn it, Diligent, you got the right before me. I feel like they could do a whole Mega Man game where they just balance the game around just starting with this thing. And I think it would work. If you kind of catch yourself when you're falling to control the... It's just really cool. Anyways, so let's go ahead and... I guess I'll die. That'll be the quickest way to get out of here. Now, you can't charge while you have this equipped. So that's the cost for this thing. I know, right? Give us our frickin' jetpack back. There's another one, too, but we'll show that off in a minute. Actually, hang on. Where can we reach with the jetpack? Because there's a few things. Let's see here. What do we got here? Looks like we can get 3 of the things right here. So let's go ahead and do those 3 really quick. Super quick while we're here. Do this, do this. Not that I'm aware of, Zalok, although obviously we do know what that means. That means we've 100%ed it, but yeah. I don't know where this one is. Rush Flight. Rush Pack, maybe? Whoops, pay attention. What haven't we shown off yet? Aw. So Plant Man's power is interesting. Similar to Skull Man's, it just stays up, but consumes a decent amount of energy when it hits something. So it's pretty much the same as Skull Man's overall. So the Night Crush, or Night whatever, is a weird one, because it's kind of like a pseudo-boomerang. It's like a long-range quick man weapon, is probably a better way to phrase that. Hey, Eddie. Thanks, Eddie. Yeah, what I really love about the power-ups in this one is the fact that they are effectively infinite. You just refill as soon as you land. There's another one, too. Don't worry, we'll get that, though. Like I said, they're worse, but better by virtue of that. It's lasers versus missiles, you know? You've played MechWarrior, right? I think I'm already too low to do that. Yeah, no. Okay. Well, that sucks. Well, okay, fair enough, Von Falkstein. But you get the point, you get the point. Oh yeah, we can't slide while wearing this thing either. Too bulky. Not to my knowledge, Richard, which is a shame, because that would be a cool way to continue to add mechanics to the game, right? Like, you get the jet first of all, and then you could go, you know what? I want to be able to die instantly because I'm an idiot. I want to have the ability to increase the flight, or maybe make it so it shoots me even higher. Maybe I'm faster when I'm wielding it, or maybe I can use weapons while I've got it on. Or I can have weird slowdown. Did you see that? What the hell you doing, game? I don't have anything extensive or resource-intensive going right now. I did earlier. I don't right now. Whatever. Listen, Valerian, all I'm saying... Oh yeah, you're here. I should do Flame Man stage before I... Sorry, I was backtracking. I'll stop backtracking after this. Just let me get this past the section where I die instantly. Just give me a minute. Apparently NES games are they're just too rough, man. I can't deal with it. Alright, take two. No, it's gone, Kinetic Console. It's gone! And you'll never find it again. It's definitely not in the archive section of the website if you go look in the right-hand tab. And it's over there somewhere. I forget where exactly. It's there, though. It's on the archives. You don't even see it on his back. I love the jetpack, though. I really do. What? I disagree with that. Okay. Like, every now and again, the game's just wrong, and I need to correct it. Like, look, game, you're incorrect. That's not what happened there. The game's like, well, but... I'm like, no, you're wrong. I'm sorry. Nothing personal. Mega Man 5 is just better than Mega Man X1. I'm sorry, that's just the facts. The numbers back it up. And we know numbers prove everything. That's how you... Numbers are how you prove the Earth is flat. I mean, I wouldn't mind that superpower loaner, but you know. So let's just not mess with this time. Oh yeah, you can fight the bosses again in this one. Okay, so... I don't actually remember what he's weak to. Oh, he's weak to plant, the thing I'm almost out of. Wheat! Okay, and now we actually are out of. One of my favorite totally flat Earth things is this picture where it talks about how, you know, water follows gravity, right? So if that was true, then all the oceans in the Earth would drain down to the bottom half of the Earth. Checkmate! Something's still eating my inputs. That's really getting weird. Whatever, I'm gonna do Flame Man just for Valerian. Go back and get the other things in a minute. I actually do like this stage. Just in general. So there's a bunch of oil lying around because of course there is. There's a bunch of instant kill spikes because of course there are. And, well, the fire turns into instant kill fire. I mean, the oil turns into instant kill fire if it's lit on fire, so... One of my favorite jokes from Bob and George was Flame Man attacks Mega Man with a bunch of oil, and he's like, this isn't very dangerous. And then he covers him in money. And Rock's like, what are you doing? He's like, well, I'm doing what I do with all my problems. I'm throwing money and oil at it. And then he lights him on fire. Yeah, I probably shouldn't find that funny, but whatever. Hey, look! It's the suits that they can use in order to have environmental suits. Oh, jeez. That was actually kind of close. Is everything on fire in Flame Man stage? Don't answer that question. No! So close. Run! 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 Keep running! Okay, we're safe. Those are instant death flames, yes. Those are fun flames, as we like to call them. Let's see here. I think he's either weak to Blizzard or Blizzard's weak to him. I forget what, so we're just gonna do it this way. I always kind of like that his shots actually act as a shield, too. It helps to differentiate him from the many other fire bosses in this franchise, of which there are so many. We were talking about this kind of with the Mavericks, but in all of the Mega Mans, fire and ice bosses are just all over the place. In fact, there's one of each in just this one game. And in Mega Man X1. Okay. I mean, there's a lot of ways to say that. Ice Man, Blizzard Man, Cold Man, Frost Man. God, I'm running out already. It's a good idea. If we could make Flame Man a hyena, I think that would be awesome. And then we could burn to the ground. Chill Man, yep, there's Chill Man in the Mega Man one. Tundra Man is in one of them, yep. Gotta have Snowman, very important. Okay. So we got the power armor, which is good. So now we can get all the stuff, which we're gonna go do in just a second. I do want to give a plus to Flame Man stage. I do like Flame Man stage. Oh, the Mega Mans and Valerian? I do hope you like them if you do. Speaking of which, you probably didn't hear me say this earlier, so I'm going to repeat myself. I recommend you start with 2 or 4. Either one of those are good initiators into the franchise, methinks. Three is kind of a mess, but still good despite it. 5 is the best game we've reviewed so far, and 6 is really good so far. One moment, looking something up. Did I? I did, okay. You don't want to start with X-Force Zero campaign, I agree with that. Okay, we're cool. Sorry. Making sure I'm up to date, which I am. Hang on, let's put that over there so it's not in the way. Okay, back to Tomahawk Man again. If you want to play one, play Powered Up in an extremely legal manner in which you have available to yourself. Because they definitely still sell PSP games nowadays, and it's definitely been ported forwards and hasn't been abandoned on the PSP. Oh, cool. Yeah, no, Powered Up is just... I cannot praise Powered Up enough. It's actually weird. Oh, is it on this digital front? Pillages now? Although, who has a beta, honestly? Sorry. I know plenty of people have a beta. I am not one of them, because I had no reason to get a beta, but, you know. It is a weirdly good console, technically. Hey, Eddie. Thanks, Eddie. Oh yeah, let's show off the power armor. So your Buster Shot... This is basically the prototype for the Gaia armor in Mega Man X5, I think it was. Your shots get shorter range, but hit much harder. And your big shot is a ton of damage, but essentially a melee range thing. And, it is similarly pretty useful. One of the challenge runs I've talked about is go through this game as Power Armor Mega Man. And sometimes it's really easy, because you just bulldoze enemies. And sometimes it's extremely hard. One moment. I need to check something here. Yep, nope, I was right. Okay, nope, I'm right. Cool. I could go get the equalizer. I probably should get the equalizer. Alright, fine, let's go get the equalizer. It's a good item to have. It just means I need to redo a couple sections here, but that's okay. Die, 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 die. I'm sorry, Vendali, I'm having trouble understanding that one. Unless you're saying the Switch is an advanced Wii U, in which case you're absolutely correct. Like, that's not even conjecture. The Switch is literally just a Wii U, but better. Come on. There we go. Jeez Louise. A little bit casual. Hi, Proto Man. Hey, look! It's Reed's computer. So now we have the equalizer. First time this has been shown in the series, something that would become standard policy in earlier games, or later games, excuse me. The equalizer enables you to, whenever you pick a weapon power-up, it automatically refills your whatever weapons you're low on, regardless of whether you have them up or not. A great quality of life feature that there's a reason it became standard later on. The best Mario Party is obviously the one on the Switch. I don't even think that's in contest, because all the other ones are terrible and worse and terrible. I'm just joking, of course, but the truth is I do still stand by the Switch one. Switch Mario Party for the win. And you're probably thinking, which one? The one that was already out, not the one that came out this year. I haven't played the new one. I don't know what it's called. It's the one that's on the Switch. The first one that's on the Switch, not the second one that's on the Switch. Hey, we actually have his weakness now. You're probably wondering, why are we fighting him again? Well, the way they did this is that Tom Hoffman is very allergic to plants, apparently. It's just kind of weird, but whatever. Not here to judge. No, the way they did this is that there's 2 boss rooms for all of the warrior bosses. If you go to the second boss room and defeat them, you get one of the beat pieces to unlock beat. So there's kind of an optimal order to do this in, but in general it boils down to doing these levels several times, like we're doing right now. So now we have the B there, so we're good there. Let's go to Yamato's. Beat is a robotic bird which is an absolute death machine, as most video game birds are. I feel like I've heard that too, Delbach, but I don't know if that's the realm of rumor or not. Yes, rock and roll, and actually, well, you know, there's also blues and bass. What am I doing? This thing, I think. Needleman's weapon makes a return. Okay, there's also Treble. Can't forget him. Otto should have been named Polka, I'm just saying. Oh yeah, there's also Punk. and ballad, or however you say that. I do like the running animation with the bulky armor there. Oop, I didn't mean to do that. Because I can't slide in this thing either. There we go. No, you could do it back in 1, Vandalia. But this is the second one where you could do it. And it's specifically... Oh yeah, there's the weapon equalizer in action, by the way. And it's specifically so you could get the beat pieces. Oh yeah, there's Tango. I forgot about Tango. We don't see Foxtrot or Charlie for some reason. This is why Yamato Man stage is so short, by the way. By taking these alternate paths, we have a fairly substantial amount of additional side stuff to go through. I just wanted to comment on that because I talked about it earlier. Now, I hate to interrupt this, but I gotta go do something super quick. I will not be long. I don't want to leave a package in the rain. Okay. Sorry about that. It is actually exactly what it was supposed to be. I wanted to check first. If you're wondering what it is, well... I don't know if you can even see that with the reflections. Anyways, we'll show that off a little bit more during the run we're not at yet. We won't be at that till probably next week. Moving on. Yamato Man is weak to Chain, I think? No, he's weak to Tomahawk, isn't he? But yeah, those are the Metroid Dread amiibos. Okay, that's on me. I just couldn't get my mind engaged there for some reason. What's wrong with me here? I think it was a Nintendo Power, Delbach. That's what did that. That's what said that. That doesn't make it true, but I'm pretty sure that's what gave that info out. Nintendo Power had a common tendency to say things regardless and be wrong a lot, so... He can, Richard, but only some of them. I know, it's weird, Torchinator. The elemental bosses do not drop anything special, no. The only 4 special things are in the warrior bosses. Speaking of which, let's go and do Nightman now. I will agree with that, Gingaman. For whatever shade I might throw at Nintendo Power, Nintendo Power is legit. I still have all my Nintendo Powers. I brought them out on cameras before, because hell yeah. I could use a 1-up. No, you still have to fight the 4 elemental bosses, Zulok. It's not like Mega Man X5 or... I forget which other one where you could just skip to the end. That was 6, wasn't it? Yeah, the amount of work and effort that was put into perfecting the series in such a short amount of time is legitimately mind-blowing. But then again, look at the release window between Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy IX sometime to see a similar phenomenon. Come on. There we go. I would agree with that too, Blue Felix. I've never liked IGN, and that was before I found out just how actually kind of terrible they really are. To this day, my favorite thing to point to when it comes to how awful IGN is, in terms of just how bad quality there is when I was reading their review of Mass Effect 3, and it was literally just bullet points from the press release of Mass Effect 3, copy-pasted into the review. No, I'm not making that up. Oh yeah, by the way, to really emphasize how much I love Nintendo Power, some of you probably noticed this little red magazine. I'm not going to pull it up right now, because it's kind of precarious. But some of you have seen during the ruminations, there's like this red magazine-looking thing right here. Some of you probably recognize that. That is the Nintendo Power Mario Bros. 3 walkthrough, which I plan to bring out when we play Mario 3. And, yeah. Very duct-taped. Not in the greatest of shape, so I'm a little hesitant to move it, unless I'm being pretty careful with it. I feel like I've... Oh, maybe not. Yeah, Nintendo Power was really awesome for a while there. It kind of dipped off in power, or in quality a bit there. But yeah, the Nintendo Power comics, Ness and... Oh, what was the name of the other dude? They kind of did their reviews, and they would give away, like, tiny little tidbits of game information while talking about the game, while just being a comic, you know? That was where I first saw the Star Fox comics. That was legit. You remember that? Howard, that was it. Ness and Howard. Hang on. There we go. Oh yeah, and of course, yeah, the handbooks that were awesome, of which there are several. What's Nightman week 2? He's week to Yamato, I think. There's a lot to discuss in the TOS ruminations. It's one of the reasons I was really happy to end up doing them in the end. Although, ironically, I would say the same about ENT, for different reasons. Yeah, Nintendo Power introduced me to a bunch of games I wouldn't have known about otherwise, good and bad. I discovered the TMNT NES game, the first one, thanks to Nintendo Power. But you know of this story because you've heard me say it before. I discovered Dragon Quest because of Nintendo Power. And Final Fantasy. Enough said. In fact, during the NES era, I can pretty definitively say there were two sources of me becoming aware... Three sources of me becoming aware of games. What is with this delay? Look at that. You seen that? Hang on a second. Whatever. Nintendo Power, seeing it in the store at the rental place, or hearing from it from one of my friends. I'm having chop. I'm having straight up chop, and it's happened before, and I'm starting to wonder if my computer's just kind of going a little bit, because, you know, I did render a file earlier. Uh-oh. Okay, that was kind of close. I think I learned about Pokemon from Nintendo Power too, which is funny because I didn't get into Pokemon until Gen 2, as I've said many times. So I didn't actually really get into Pokemon Gen 1. I was like, okay, this is kind of a bad RPG. What the heck is this nonsense? Then I got to Gen 2, which was just Pokemon Gen 1, but polished. And I was like, oh my god, this is really good. And I have been a Pokemon fan ever since. So make of that what you will. That does sound familiar, Ventures, but I'm not placing the name off the top of my head. It's weird, isn't it, Wilbo Baggins? I mean, in my defense, most of the things that I liked or became aware of through magazines, especially Nintendo Power, I only stuck with the things that I actually enjoyed, you know? I can think of plenty of things I got into because of Flash in the Pan or because it was shiny or whatever. Very few of those did I actually stick with, you know? What, you don't like reverse water? Oh god, yeah, they really plugged the Virtual Boy. Actually, want to hear something pathetic? And I say pathetic, but I don't mean that. You want to hear something that is probably relatable? I was so looking forward to the Game Boy. The very idea of having a portable video game machine, that very concept of being able to take a game and play it with me when I'm chilling or when I'm going out and about or whatever, was just such a game changer for me. And what's funny is that's never changed. To this day, the Switch is one of my favorite consoles because of its portability. Because I can play it out there in my bed while relaxing. You know? Centaur. What's Centaur weak to? Wind, I think? Nope. There were no other handhelds before the Game Boy, Alvadrix. That was kind of the first one. No, I like to play video games, Caspian. Okay, he's weak to night. Got it. The Centaur is weak to night. Yeah, that makes sense. Or Grease is weak to nights. Which makes even more sense if you think about it. I'm gonna stop making those world jokes. Oh, compared to the Switch. Oh, well, obviously the other thing the Switch does is the Joy-Cons. But no, I've always been a handheld gamer. I really have, ever since the Game Boy. Now, I've never owned a Game Boy. I've always played a friend's copy. The first one I got was a Game Boy Color. Quite a ways in actually. But Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, the DS, the 3DS, and the PSP. And, of course, the Switch. Hell to the yes. Okay, so we have Beat now. I've never owned a Game Gear. I have played one, and yeah, the battery eater is not exaggerated. The Game Gear absolutely just consumed batteries. It was ridiculous. I remember playing one of the Sonic games on it, and I couldn't have been playing it for more than 30 or 40 minutes, and it was like, hang on, you need more batteries. And I'm like, what? Now, it was already been used at that point, but it wasn't exactly, you know, dying batteries before I started it. You know what I mean? What am I doing? Pay attention, Laura. Okay, when I say pay attention, Laura, I should probably look at the screen while I'm saying that, because I literally wasn't looking at the screen, and I didn't realize I was still sliding. I mean, I had fun in the Game Gear, but I didn't really get to use it much, because the way it worked was my friend basically charged us batteries to use it, so... batteries aren't that expensive, but at the same time, you can see why it was just a... Yeah, no, I'm not gonna mess with that. Power Blade. It sounds like a NES game. No! I wasn't ready. Oh, whatever. I guess I've kind of shown off all the weapons for now. We'll have to decide if we give the weapon positive, as per usual. Yeah, no, that sounds absolutely like a game I've played, Zalog. Only once, though, and probably a rental. The Tiger handheld electronics are jokes. That's what I call those. No offense, Baron, if you're there. Although there's still more games than, you know, mobile games, so I'll give them that. Yeah, I really always wanted something to fix the analog and the PSP, and I feel like there was a thing that did that, and I never really got a hold of it. No, okay, we're okay. Turret Joe. Yeah, that's... Sounds familiar, doesn't it, Zalog? I do like the weapons in this one. I do. But I will admit, part of why I like the weapons, whoops, isn't because of the weapons themselves. It's because of the fact that they bothered to make each of the weapons useful on virtually every enemy and boss in the entire game. Yeah, I'm using the Buster, but I could go through this with the spear, for the most part. And just use the spear, and that's my primary weapon. Until I run out. And then I can use the knight until I run out, and so forth and so on. And yeah, the energy transfer unit helps a little bit, because, you know... Or that... Yeah, exactly, Zalog. Clear thought and effort was put into them, and I do think we're going to give a positive to the weapons, I do. It's a shame, because they really are just iterations of previous weapons, so what can you do, right? Whoa! There's that problem again. I remember this. There we go. I think you could get the equalizer in most of the games after this. I'm not actually 100% on that. I feel like you could get it in 7. And I'm pretty sure you can get it in 11. I'm not sure about the rest. Where's flame? Oh, there it is. Already used a bunch of it. Damn it. Damn it. Stop wasting my ammo. They've revealed the choice list several times, Hardboiled One, but it's kind of all over the place. In some of the museum stuff, they list some of the options. In the manual for Mega Man 8, they list some of them, I'm pretty sure. Congratulations, Ross, I think. I love that attack, by the way. It's kind of a unique take on the spread fire, and it's awesome. Okay. We did it. So, Blizzard Man Stage. Oh yeah, the Buster is actually pretty good on almost every boss. It's something, like I said, most of these bosses take decent damage from a lot of things. In fact, we gave a +2, I think it was 4 for multiple weaknesses. We might have to give that to 6. Let me look this up really quick. Give me just one moment, because I actually could pull up the boss damage figures right here. Give me a moment. I gotta pull up each page separately, because of course I do. Why would we put these all on one page? Why would you ever want to reference all this information at one time? That's stupid! Okay, so like Yamato Man takes, so his weakness is Tomahawk, which does 4 damage. The Rush Power thing also does 4 damage. Mega Buster does 3. Everything else does 1, so that doesn't count. Maybe it was 3. 4, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. I swore it was 6 that had weaknesses across the board for these, but apparently I am wrong. Oh. That's okay. The data doesn't lie. Only lore lies. Or is wrong. Alright. Leaning towards a yes on that and a yes on that, but still debating that one. I know, right, Walker? I keep saying this, but I keep meeting it. No one is more surprised than I am. Just... Alright, so as of where we're at right now, we're actually up to 23. 23. And the one negative, which is the 2 positive. I haven't put the 2 positives yet. Doodads, visual storytelling, possibly continuity. We'll see in a second. There's 2 story negatives I'm kind of building up to. I haven't codified them yet because it's by memory and we haven't really seen it yet. But I want to give 2 negatives. One is for the intro, which ties into the other, which is for the plot. The plot isn't Samus. The plot isn't super... Like, plot is never really one of the strongest points of the Mega Man games, let's be honest. But it just feels so pleh, especially immediately after 5, immediately after 4, right? And the only thing that's unique about the story of Mega Man 6 is the fact that it ends with Wily in jail. Which, by the way, near as I can tell, was supposed to actually be the end of the classic series, although I've only heard like 2 interviews about that, so... And both of those are kind of conjecture. Here's Mr. X's castle. I like to think that this is where Mega Man X hangs out. So let's go over the outer battlements. Hey look, it's Starfleet Command! You're going to see a lot of backgrounds I've used for the Trek Rewrite in these stages because the Mr. X stages are really good in terms of background design. All I had to do was remove the spikes, which was relatively easy to do. And, I mean, look at this. It just looks like Starfleet Command. Look at it. And, of course, this also implies that Mr. X's mansion is actually in the city, as opposed to Skull Castle, which is usually just out in the middle of nowhere. See you around, Richard. Have fun. I'd probably still give that to Samus, because Samus is Samus. That's just kind of how that works. I don't know, Russ. I'd have to actually look. Which obviously I haven't, because I'm stupid. really easing it out of those spikes there. No, trust me. I would probably be above 30, I would say, just off the top of my head. But I'd have to actually look at the list to determine it for real. Jesus, that is such a tight thing right there. And... a little too fast that time. I did the jump right. And that time I didn't do the jump right. That was a little close. I wish Mr. X had a bigger presence, period, since he's apparently a regular guy that Dr. Wily is just impersonating. God damn it. I did it right the one time that I was too fast, because I'm terrible at everything, apparently. I was going to give up on this after this game over. I could be talked into an aggregate negative for the cutscene on changing forms. And the reason why is specifically the fact that even though you could skip it, it's kind of inconsistent on when you could skip it. Sometimes you could do it immediately like I just did, and then sometimes you can't, and I don't actually know what the difference is. Like there, I just did it immediately. Oh, come on! There. Now to die. Hey look, it's Starfleet Command, again. I mean, this whole stage is just the framework I use for most of my Starfleet Command stuff, so that's just what it is. Come on. Hit the grasshopper. Well, that was actually a net gain, so I'll take it. I don't remember the first boss. A reverse Wily. That would be interesting to learn. I don't remember this boss. Wait. I've got an idea. Let's look it up. In the database. Okay, weak to fire, apparently. Okay. Actually, while I'm here, yeah, let's look up the other guys. Fire, Tomahawk, Blizzard. Someone write that down. Fire, Tomahawk, Blizzard. That literally did no damage. That was strange. It's... Where? Now I'm just confused. I can't tell when I'm hitting them and when I'm not. Thank you, Mr. Red. I know you hate my guts, but I appreciate it. So, hitting the... Do I have to hit the side? No? Where's the weak point on these things? Oh, I'm out of flame. Beat, deal with this for me, please. Please. Beat's like, eh, I ain't dealing with that mess. That's okay, fine, Beat, thanks. Well, I have a couple E-Tinks to spare, so I'll go ahead and use one. Yeah, it is the sides. Okay. See, I think that would be awesome, Dr. Winter. I got you, Dr. Wily. Dr. Wily's just sitting there watching TV like, what? What's the issue? Well, there's this evil energy from space. Oh! And some of you... I'm not going to say what this is, but I hope at least someone recognizes the screen we're on right now. It would make me happy if someone recognizes this screen from the Star Trek Rewrite. We're kind of already past it, but, you know. That's right. That is the Enterprise Bridge. It's one of the sets I use the most. Because, you know, a lot of the action on that show happens on the bridge. What can you do? Let me tell you, coming up with a different sprite set for the background of every random world takes some work, you know? There's a lot of games to pull from, but I do try to go with a little bit of visual consistency. One of the big things I've been going for is I try to use similar tile sets entirely to indicate style. So, like, for example, most of the big stuff tends to come from the Mega Man series. Here's another shot of the Enterprise, by the way. I'll go down. So I tend to use Mega Man tiles for Starfleet and the Federation in general. Romulans, Klingons, etc. Tholians. The one that was in, God, I can't think of the name of it. Where they bring back historical people to be good versus evil. I can't even think of the name of this stupid episode. But that planet was surprisingly well done as far as set design goes. Like, color me surprised. Savage Curtain, that's the one. Yeah, the Excalibans, or Excalbians, or however they say that. Don't worry, Troy will definitely not use her powers to sense deception. No, really, she won't. Tomahawk, right? Yes, because Blizzard's last. Right, Mr. Red? Oh, it's right there, Fire Tomahawk Blizzard. Oh yeah, I remember this guy, It's just this weird trash-flinging robot. What's funny is I kind of sussed out this weakness by myself the first time I played because he's way up there. What's a weapon I have that shoots up in an arc? Ah, that's okay. Well, you see, Ross, it's because we need to show just how evil and dark the Klingons really are. Anyways, favorite non-Enterprise... Oh, you already said that. I already said that. I'm an idiot. So you can see the boss design, it's kind of has the same Darkman problem in that it's not, there's just not much to it. It's okay. You know, it's not negative worthy, but it's just like, okay. I think we all know the Enterprise D has the best bridge, thank you very much. Now, the Enterprise J has the worst bridge, my god. I did not know what they were thinking about on that one. Oof. That's not worth it. Left or right? The Enterprise D has the best bridge, the best place to sit on, best place to serve. Best warp nacelles, that counts for some, right? Best Ready Room. I actually do agree with that. Definitely the best Ready Room. Like, I'm sorry, Picard's desk is legitimately a nice piece of furniture. In real life, they brought in some decent furniture for that Ready Room. And, okay. In Star Trek Online, Warp Core. It's one of the bridges you can get. I do prefer the holodeck design of Voyager, I'll admit that. But DS9's holodeck design is just kind of... Or the holosuite, I should say, but whatever, you get the idea. I don't know if it's when you get the ship or not, because I've never bothered to get that thing, because that thing's an abomination, but I believe it's when you get the ship, yeah. Yeah, call me not a fan of the universe. No, DS9's Ready Room is that little side area that Sisko has that he does a lot of scenes in. Oh my god. Okay, fine. Apparently not, Zactef. Every time you say that's when I'm sucking. Are you trying to make sure I die? You are, aren't you? You're working for the Separatists. I knew it! You keep denying it. And you keep trying to get me killed. It's okay. I don't blame you, soldier. I blame the system. And also Ross, for no particular reason. I do think the set design on TNG was legit from Season 3 onwards. So I am a little bit biased on that. You know, when they started actually having set design. Yep, I saw that coming. I think I didn't. Damn it, Mr. Red. Why are you trying to get me killed? You just want more time for FF14, admit it! Clenchiest jump in the level right there. I mean, that's fine. I'm not actually trying to change your opinion, SRS. I know people think Imperial Star Destroyers are ugly, and I think that's one of the most beautiful ships in fiction. As evidenced by the fact that I've got 2 of them behind me. And then a variant on them, too. But I will absolutely admit that I would rather settle, you know, retire... Where's that lag again? On the Galaxy than on most ships. Again, across all of fiction. Like, that's the ship you go to live on. And relax on, you know? That would be really cool, Vandalia, but I mean, listen, we can't have that because MGM is a bunch of, well, people. I think is the word I'm going to use there. I'm just going to go for it. I knew it. Yep, that's okay. I need that, so we're going to go for it. Oh, I love the Venator, but there's not a lot of good models of it. There is a Lego of it, but I mean... I haven't even finished my LEGO ISD, so I'll have 3 ISDs. But I do love the Venator, legitimately. It's a beautiful ship. That was the first good Mr. X stage. What was this? Mr. X3, I think? Sorry, it's just most of the Mr. X stages have been so bland as to not even be noteworthy. But that was great. I like that. I hope so, Blue of Alex. I think I've said this before, but to be very clear, the goal is to be... That's going to be the housewarming stream when I buy a house. That was supposed to happen at the end of the last year or this year, and then things got in the way, and the housing market died, and I got surgery on my nose, so it's being pushed back a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean, I don't know when that's happening. At the moment, it's more of a, I hope it happens someday kind of a thing. Oh, no, no sorries. It's just, yeah, that was the intent, and then, whoops, that didn't happen. Yeah, it's probably going to be a couple years at this point. The housing market is still recovering from that, just the mess that happened as a result of that. One thing I was thinking, rather cynically or pragmatically, or however you want to think of that, was if the flooding problem hadn't been solved and I was forced to move out, the only place that would accept me would be my sister's basement, which is a problem for many reasons. But I was thinking, at least then I'd be able to open the Star Destroyer and build it on camera, right? Right? That's something, right? So what's this guy week to? Blizzard! It should be Epic Deku. I sure hope so. Well, it's not deswamped yet, but it hasn't continued growing. I'm gonna give it a few days before I really say, no really, it's fixed. But again, every day the swamp was slowly expanding, and the fact that it is no longer doing so is a good sign. I know, Vandalia, it sucks. Real life just needs to get out of the way, you know? I'm busy, I got games to play. 15 and under is, in fact, what we qualified as short, Dr. Winter. 16 to 29 is medium, 30 and up is long. I know, right, Meadfist? It's whatever. Anyways, plus for that stage. That was a cool stage. I'm going to be using the jetpack a lot because it's a jetpack. Okay, speaking of which, we need to actually formally give a plus for the jetpack. Because it's awesome. I don't think I need to add anything to that. I kind of want to give more pluses, but I can't in good conscience. But I love the jetpack as a replacement for both the coil and the rush jet. I think it is a great advancement of that concept. There shouldn't be warp core. We'll see. But no, they are the kit. Going from Mega Man 2 to Mega Man 6, we usually have some kind of kit for utility, and it's either the items, or Rush, or Rush, or Rush, or these armors. And I love these armors, so absolute positive for that. I think I can officially do this one, speaking of which. No, I didn't, Zilok. I was still debating it. And it's just, eh. Oh, yeah, that's kind of drifting into it, Warp Core. Drifting down into the short block. That was the thought process there. At the time, there wasn't anything afterwards, so I was like, you know what? So, if you notice the short block, there's a pattern which doesn't really exist anymore, where it was the longest to the shortest, and it was in that order. And then more games got funded, so you can still kind of see it goes 25, 20, 15, down to 10, so down to 5s, and then it kind of cuts off a little bit when we get down to Shovel Knight, but you get the idea. Anyways. Look, the magnet beam sucks. Okay, I mean, see you around, Vandalia. The magnet beam could have been better, is probably a better way to phrase that. We need to decide what we think of the weapons. I like the weapons. I think the weapons are good. I think the weapons deserve a positive. Just one. In this one. This is just the Needleman thing, but it's got a little bit of a spreader and actually has better damage values than Needleman's weapon, so that's something. That's not great. Windstorm is an awesome weapon because it's either a regular weapon or it literally flings them off the camera, which I love. Again, this is a great take on a spread fire. Wonderful spread on that. This could be a nice little way to kind of lay a trap for an enemy or to hit ground-based enemies. This is the Skull Shield again. It's the Skull Shield. I have nothing new to add to that. It's the Skull Shield. Night Crush is kind of a weird boomerang weapon, but great range on that. The Silver Tomahawk should be better. It's like a really poor version of the Magnet Missile slash the Gyro. And of course we have the Freeze, which is exactly what it's. I'm not going to waste that. And Beat. And if you want to count it, we also have this thing. The I want whatever's in front of me to die in particular gun. Or fist, I guess. But I should write that down, Zulok, in case we come up with any other aggregate negatives. I always loved how the boxes have the X logo on them, because that's just so wily, isn't it? Birds hatch and immediately go to kill me, just like in real life. That's true, branding is important. I need to write that down. I keep saying that. I need to write that down before I forget. Whoa! I don't remember what I used this set for. It's in one of the recent videos. I think it's one that hasn't even been finalized yet, now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, let's pause for a second. Okay, just want to write that down before I forget it, because I hate forgetting stuff on these, and then going back later and be like, oh yeah, I forgot to write that down. It's happened a couple of times. Yeah, we'll stick with it. No. Wily branded shirts. I'm sure they sell those somewhere. I've thought a few times about just, you know, at cost, selling a couple of Lore Runner shirts. Games are awesome, let's discuss. Maybe just a, you know, Imperial symbol kind of a thing. Something like that. Listen, Wily would totally crowdfund his world domination, I'm just saying. He would jump right on that. Especially since he literally does in 9 or 10, I forget which. It's just the eyebrows, yeah. Within reason, yeah. Let's go with this one. Because, hey! See you around, Gingaman. Enjoy the foods. Yeah, if... international shipping was a problem before the current issue. That's actually why we stopped selling the pins. Because international shipping was just like, no, we're dumb. And I'm like, but I want to ship this stuff to people in other countries. And they're like, no, we're dumb. We can't do that. It's like, okay, fine. Whatever. Whatever. Oh god, it's Mr. X! I don't even know what he's weak to, but I can find out. A giant orb mecha controlled by Mr. X. Apparently Mr. X likes to use it to get around in everyday life. Ah! Roll down the window. Yeah, I'll have 2 number 5s. A number 6. Extra cheese. Oh yeah, I remember this fight. I'm gonna go ahead and blow a E-tank on this. I got a bunch. In fact, I have max E-tanks right now. Jesus. I have not been using those a lot on this stage, or in this game. My scheme for world domination has failed, but I still have enough power to destroy you. Oh my god, it was Dr. Wily! Let the final battle begin. What's going on with this castle? Whatever. Wily 1. This is probably my favorite song in the game. Like I said earlier, I have a little bit of difficulty picking just one because a lot of the music is just kind of equally good. I know, I like one of the Wily songs, Try to Be Surprised. Yeah, Dr. Wily needs to go into environmentally safe stuff. He would get a lot of people more interested in him. Yeah, look at, as much as I hate to compare and contrast here, look at the Skull Castle in Mega Man 3, for example, versus the Skull Castle in 6. There's a pretty clear design variance there. In fact, Skull Castle 3 is one of my favorites, if not my actual favorite. I'd have to think about that. Well, he's got at least one more in 7, which I also like the look of, by the way. Then we have the Tower in 9, and then we have castles again in... Tower in 8, and then we got the castles again in 9 and 10. Ooh, wasn't ready. What is with Wily and always having at least one Met-themed level? I know this is a fully Met-themed, but it's interesting. I mean, it's probably his worker force, so I guess there's a logic there. We're fighting his construction bots. See, damn it, no! Oh, God. That is not true, Blow of Alex. But I do like the 1 and 3. I like 3s, I like 2s, I like 7s. I don't remember what 9s or 10s even looks like off the top of my head, to be completely honest. Ooh. Okay. And right. Okay, we're okay. We made it through the death. Now we're just getting shot to death. That's okay. Being shot is less damaging than spikes because video game logic. You know what's actually funny, Valvatrix? That. One of the things I heard when we were playing 11 was that the soundtrack was bad. Now, I made a mistake, which is something I do semi-frequently, actually. Or at least I used to. I try not to do it nowadays. But that was pretty early on when we were doing the review series. So I was still kind of new at this whole thing. I was allowing other people to decide my opinions for me, put simply. And you know what that's like, I'm sure you do, because you've probably done it yourself. Everybody who's listening to this. It's one of those things where it's like someone says, oh, I like X because Y, and then you're like, yes, I agree, whether you do or not. There's all sorts of psychological reasons why we tend to do stuff like that, but it's a fairly common thing to do. Yeah, nope. Didn't quite make it that time. That's okay. We're back to being shot to death. Thank God. Anyways. I didn't give Mega Man 11 a negative for music, but I didn't give it as many positives as I'm just going to say this as bluntly as I can, should have. I like Mega Man 11's music, like, a lot. A huge number of Mega Man 11's soundtrack is on my I Want to Listen to This Right Now playlist, and has been, god damn it, for quite a while now. I actually really like Mega Man 11's soundtrack. And that's my point. It's different to be convinced of something. That's someone trying to give you items and perspective and opinion and saying, here, trying to change your mind, right? That's fine. I'm talking about just straight up taking someone else's opinion as your own. I think part of it, for Mega Man 11 specifically, is the sound font, which is really good. It is an excellent sound font. And so it's just wonderful to listen to. Ugh, made it! Holy crap. That's totally why I was dying. I was giving myself another chance on this. It definitely wasn't just me sucking. Left or right? Honestly, let's just get this thing out. You have chosen poorly, but that's okay. This is an easy one. I haven't decided yet, Zillow. This is really tight jumps on this. Whoa, ho, 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 you son of a submariner. Oh, you're cute. You're cute. There's... Yeah, I have to admit, this stage is not very impressive. It relies a little bit too much on gotcha, which, you know, we've seen in other Mega Man games as well. The classics don't lean on gotcha all that much, which is kind of nice. The question is, what are we thinking? Is this a whole negative or an aggregate negative for the gotcha we just encountered? Sphere. I was kind of leaning towards aggregate, but that means we can start building up the aggregate we have already got going, which is part of the significance of that question. Why does Dr. Wily have a giant robotic dinosaur? And why don't I? What a giant robotic dinosaur. I'm seeing some clear consensus on aggregate, so alright, let's start building up this aggregate then. Listen, okay, that's a fair thing. I can't say anything about that. Listen, I'm just saying that if I could give my niece a giant robot dinosaur that would also kill anyone who threatened her, I would totally do that. Okay, maybe not kill. That's a bit harsh, but, you know, it's roar intimidatingly, you know, defend her, that kind of a thing. So, I mentioned how I use a lot of the sprites from Mega Man 6 specifically. Sorry, the backgrounds for Mega Man 6 specifically for my sets. This is going to be the Andorian ship. Because it just makes a weird amount of sense to me that their ship would be cold. And this just looks cold, right? So that it's robotic indoor cold. So it fulfills the requirement for an Andorian ship. I know, it's stupid. I just want to share that. The Dinobots are cool. Can't argue that point. I mean, they've always done that, though, Solo. Mega Man 1 required the... Whoa! They've required the magnet beam in 1, they required the item 1 and item 3 in 2, etc., etc. Requiring the items isn't anything new. And remember, they do guarantee give you these. It's not like the beat, which you can get by option. Whoop. That's okay. Listen, I'm sorry for killing you, but don't kill me. Okay. What's this guy weak to? Go check it out. Where are we at? Wind! Okay. You could hit some projectiles with that. I didn't actually know that. This is a weird boss. I don't even know what's going on with this thing. If only I could play it on the PC, Dr. Winter. And yeah, you're absolutely right, Blow Alex, because Aqua is probably the person who would be better set to defend me. But, you know, at least until I, you know, obtain absolute power. Then we'll talk. Then we'll talk. You know, that would make a lot of weird sense, wouldn't it, Zillow? Like, he's like, oh my god, there's just cracks everywhere. I've got it. Power armor that can bust through the cracks in Wily's shoddy construction. Or maybe the reason... Okay, that... I should have committed to that. Maybe the reason that Wily... Oh, hello. Maybe the reason that Wily has all this shoddy construction at this point is because, you know, he's getting a little rushed. This is his what? Is his Begrillionth castle at this point? His 6th castle? I'm not even sure if that's canonically, because I'm not sure when the Game Boy ones are... Yeah, he's running out of money, exactly. It's like, oh my god. Just build the thing in time. I need it by tomorrow. Why do you need a giant castle by tomorrow? Look, shut up. Don't question me. I just need... Look, it's got to have these instant-kill spikes. Why? Look, you're fine. You're human. It doesn't affect you. I'm actually going to deliberately die here, just to make this work. Reset my lives. This is kind of a mean stage. In fact, we're going to do this, too. Just kind of do that. Nope. Goodbye. Nope again. Hi. There's another room where it's flat required to use the jetpack. Oh goody, the refights. Left or right? I don't remember which is which. I mean, in some of the games, the refights are actually aggravating. I don't remember if this is one of them, but... Whoops, wrong thing. It's Tom Hawk, right? Again, however, you notice that they do the health pickup thing, teleports you out, so that's kind of nice. Yeah, in X4 is a great example of the boss refights being terrible, especially at 0. I don't remember what he's weak to. Fire? No, he's weak to fire. Is he weak to Blizzard? Are you weak to Blizzard, sir? You are weak to Blizzard. Okay. Thought I could pull that. Ooh, well. That was most of my Blizzard, so... Me too, Computer Kid. We didn't give a negative to X1 for the refights. It is the only, I think, Mega Man game we didn't give a negative for that. Because of how they implemented it. I mean, that's possible, Buzzlug, but I stand by my statement. I do think that the jetpack is better than the Rush Jet and the Rush Call combined, which is, you know... I think you're right, Maybe I should just ignore weaknesses, except on this guy. I'm gonna use it on this guy. Let's go with this. Because the Yamato Spear actually pierces his shield. Get it? Yeah, it's one of the easier ones. What are you weak to? Knight. Speaking of which. I was gonna laugh if that didn't hit me. Speaking of bosses that do collision damage, it would make perfect sense for Centaur Man to do collision damage, wouldn't it? Wait, dogs are cute? Why didn't anybody tell me? I don't remember what you're weak to. I think you're weak to this. That's because you are. We all know Tomahawk Man is just deathly allergic to plants. God, that would be awful, Zillow. Can you imagine a boss that just instant kills you if you hit it in the wrong spot? I feel like there is such a thing, actually. That's what I thought. Final stage. It's the final battle. Okay, just plummet here. What? No! I could use that. I don't think I'm gonna make this happen. Nope. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. What? This is how Wily builds all his stuff. Right here. This is how he constructs his castles. That's why this is the final battle. Because this is the construction's castle. Oh, sorry, Eddie. Thanks, Eddie. No, Ross. I mean, well, okay, yes. Sorry, yes. But only because of what we get instead of it. I don't like passwords in general. I would prefer a save system. Hi, okay, I accept that. Yes, we're back to 3 in a row. Let's go ahead and burn that. Go, Beat! Get him! Get him? Beat? Beat! No! No, Beat! You have abandoned me! Oh, that sucks. I was actually hoping Beat would work on this one. Oh, well. But yeah, this is probably one of the easiest ones to dodge of all the Wily machines. The downside is he's pretty much always up, so if you run out of Knight, Tomahawk, which I'm about to do, hitting him becomes a little more problematic. We're out of a lot of things, actually, so we're gonna have to do this. Still one of the easier Wily pods. Especially compared to, like, 7, my god. Dr. Wily be Dine Un. Triumphant at last. Mega Man arrested the notorious Dr. Wily and brought him to justice. Sentenced to prison for his crimes. Dr. Wily now rules over a prison cell. At long last, the world is at peace until Mega Man 7, which actually begins with the breakout. Jail breakouts, that's kind of cool. But it's still, you know, at least we have some kind of progress. Yeah, Mega Man actually captures Wily, holy crap. So, this is probably my favorite, you know how in each of these, from Mega Man 2 onwards, they do this little thing which shows off the enemies? This is probably my favorite one of those. It helps elevate the outro, I think. It's probably going to bring it up a bit, because rather than just showing them, we get to see them in action a little bit, you know? I don't know, maybe I'm weird, but I just like this little showcasing. Now, this probably would have worked better in the intro, but whatever. Oh, excuse me. Ugh! I would agree 7 pushes the narrative forward, and then 8 is a filler episode. And so is 9, and so is 10, and 11 is a soft reboot. I would say Dr. Wily is smarter than Robotnik, but that's just me. I mean, Dr. Wily is regularly defeated by one of the most advanced robots known to the entire history of the setting, and, Robotnik is regularly defeated by a hedgehog. So... I'm just saying. And I think it says here, yep, Daniel Villee. There's our Canadian representative. I know, I was just being facetious. I do think Wily is smarter than Robotnik. Robotnik is certainly larger scale. I mean, he builds planet-sized stuff. But Wily, in my opinion, designs better stuff. Now, that's just my opinion. And I'm not biased on that. It's the way I think of it. And here's our American representative, the United States representative. Whose name I didn't write down, but we'll see in just a second here. Michael Leader, that's it. I mean, that would make sense, Trihexia. Call me a weirdo, I always loved the visual designs of 6s. Maybe it's just because the sprite work has advanced to the point where we can see more details on them. Maybe the earlier Robot Masters would look similarly cool if they had that level of detail, but I love the design of these guys. And that was Mega Man 6. The one that was just kind of thrown out the window and barely supported, but is a lot better than I was expecting, but at the same time definitely feels like a step down from 5. I'm just gonna let this play for a moment, and then we'll go through the audit list. Oh, I agree, Presby. I mean, some of the Archie comics that do exactly that are pretty interesting. I think that's everything. To be continued. Oh, thanks. Thanks for giving... It's really? Game? Really? Whatever. Alright. No cheats. Yay! That's most of the classic series with no cheats, which makes me unreasonably happy. Can I say how Mega Man 6 is a step down Mega Man 5? The level design feels less polished, is pretty much the reason. There were a lot less, this level's amazing, this level's amazing, this level's amazing. Instead, it was more like, this level's enjoyable. That's the main reason. That's the big reason. Alright, so we're gonna pull up this. No, I only cheated in Mega Man 1 because of Iceman. I'm still pissed about that, by the way. Okay. Story, such as it is. 6 was rushed and didn't have support. I gave a whole speech about that earlier. Surprisingly good for those limitations. I'm just going to kind of race through this because there's really not a lot of things here. Let's see here. Yeah, no, it does deserve the Doodads one. I don't think it's enough of an external continuity to warrant it. The intro is not that great. What do we think of the outro? Not really, Darth Tyron. I mean, it's literally available to the public. Yeah, that's why I'm debating, but unfortunately that doesn't really work for just this game. Now, we might give that plus to Mega Man 7. Hmm. What are you talking about, Triaxia? That's just McDonald's. I actually wish Wily stayed in prison, too, and they actually moved the status quo forwards, but whatever. No, I agree, I'll go ahead and call the outro a wash. I think it's good enough to not be a negative. I'll give you that. I am, however, going to go ahead and give a negative, essentially just to the plot of this game. I don't like the plot of this game. It's lacking. It's a nonsensical twist. It's pretty much the inverse of the problem, or of what happened to Mega Man 4. Rather than being a big moment, it's just, oh, by the way, it's Wily. Okay. The spelling errors in Mega Man 6 and 7 don't help any of that. But it does get that. It does get that. And that's it, I think. So, that leaves us with a +3 to story, which is not bad. Gameplay. Okay. Animations. Oh, yeah. Really good animations in this one. Some of the better animations on the NES in general. Audio spam. Didn't have any issues with it. Auto battle. Nope. Backtracking. Backtracking. This is one of the only classic games with backtracking. This is 7. For different reasons. I think 8 kind of has it too. But... what are we thinking on the backtracking? How do we feel about that? I review all my games, Presby, so technically yes, but I'm ranking the Mega Man games alongside every other game, too. Yeah, 7 has much worse backtracking, I think. We'll see. We'll see tomorrow. Whereas 6 just has backtracking. Go back through and do a different route to get the beat pieces, and that's kind of it. And it is kind of rewarding. I think I'm willing to call the backtracking a wash. It does enough different because it is a different part of the stage you go through. In fact, hang on, I'm talking myself out of this. You go through a different part of the stage, and you are rewarded for doing it. And there's an indicator on the stage select of whether you've gotten it or not. So it is essentially, I don't want to say mandatory, but it is kind of enforced backtracking, but it is enforced good backtracking. I think I'm willing to call that a positive. Call me a weirdo. Okay. Bosses. Not a lot of great bosses in this one. But we did end up giving several positives to bosses. So, we'll move on from that. Cheese, camera choices, co-op controls. Controls. Yep. Controls are definitely there. Core combat's there. Wish my controller hadn't died in the middle of it, but that's unrelated. Difficulty curve. That's why I put enforced in quotes, hardboiled one. It is possible to not have to do backtracking, but I mean, if you have to use a walkthrough to do no backtracking, then it's enforced backtracking. I mean, the game doesn't feel frustrating. There's very few parts of the game that piss me off, other than the part I've already given a -4. I think I'm going to pass over that one. I don't think the difficulty curve is quite as smooth as it was at 5. I don't think it's bad, but there are a few spikes and there's several dips. So we're going to move on from that. That's that negative. Enemy variety. Yes. Just yes. We're officially at the double ones. Mandatory. Is that better? I'm sorry, I'm just being a dick. All 3 graphics pluses for this game looking absolutely gorgeous. Just honestly one of the best looking NES games I've ever seen. And again, this is a game I think looks good now, regardless of the fact that it's 8-bit. Interface, we did give that one, right? Interface. Yep, okay. Yes, to interface. Intro doesn't exist. Itemization, I'm pretty sure we gave. We did not. We are giving it. And kit, yep. Did we give a weapon plus? We didn't. We were still debating that. What do we think about weapons? Because obviously the jetpack gets a kit plus. I mean, duh. Yeah, I think the weapons are decent in this one. I do. Most of them are iterative, but they're still good, and there's still ways that this could work out as, right? So yeah, 1 positive. I think we could swing 1 positive for this. So weapon positive, yep. Levels and stages. There were several good stages in this one. Let's see, we had Tomahawk stage, Nightman's, Flame Man's, Blizzard Man's, and that's actually it. And only 1 kind of bad stage, which is part of an aggregate negative. I mean, it is what it is, Alok. We actually had a whole huge discussion. I don't know if you were around it back then, but when we first reviewed our first Pokemon game, we had a huge discussion on, do we give positives for something that every other game also does? Right? Like, because that was a philosophy thing. Here's a weird one. How many music pluses do we give? Because, again, this is my opinion, of course, but I think Mega Man 6's music is good across the board, but there's just no real spikes of quality. It's not like there's that one song, it's so good. Instead, it's just good music for the most part. So what are we thinking on that? And then we'll have to discuss that. Yeah, there's a lot of pathing in the game, which is why I absolutely gave the pathing plus. Every other Pokemon game has this. You already got that. Yes, Skyrim. We might not give that many pluses to Skyrim's music. We'll debate that when we get there. Anyways, I'm fine with 1+ to the music, so I'm cool with that. Let's go ahead and just move on. Outro. So we've got a brief stage followed by the first Crusher fight, followed by the second Crusher fight, followed by the Wily Bot, followed by the Capsule. I actually like the Crusher fight decently enough. And the Capsule is fair enough to not be frustrating, even though it is, unfortunately, a little bit too easy. As I'm feeling like that's good enough to not be a negative. I think that's where we're at with that on the outro. Listen, Dr. Winter, all I'm saying is that Skyrim's music is the worst music ever made in the history of the ever. Now then, replayability on Mega Man 6. Now, obviously, it gets the generic replayability plus, because duh. I don't think it deserves a second. What are we thinking? Whoops. Oh. No, it deserves another positive. You're right. Um, I agree. I don't think another. Yeah, I don't think another replayability is really justified there. Yeah, we're going through the audit right now, Gingama. This game's reviewing pretty well so far, which I'm pretty impressed by. There it is. Oh, okay. Well, whatever. Over to the right. Okay, so we got replayability, sound design, terrain design, which I already gave. Visual distinction, yes, definitely. We wrote that down, which we did. That's everything. Okay. That can't be right. Hang on. It's well, the momento. No, that tracks. That's much better than I was thinking it would be. But considering this game is essentially, as we've already discussed, it's Mega Man 5, but slightly worse. That tracks. Let's look up our golden number, shall we? Yeah, we've had a lot of people not voting. It's kind of strange. Give me one moment, Diligent Dodo. I'll tell you in just a second. I gotta plug in some formulas here really quick. I'm gonna laugh if F6 beats X1, which it did not. Just gonna give that away right now. Mega Man 6 qualifies as a 56 on the golden number. And honestly, and I double checked my math on that, and I double checked that feels about right. It really does. That is a it's a very solid, very fun game. The biggest flaw with Mega Man 6 by far is something our review system literally doesn't acknowledge. The fact that it is Mega Man 5 or Mega Man 4 again. 4, 5, and 6 are all very similar, and it's worth noting that all of them score pretty similar to each other, and there's a reason for that. The only one that spiked there was 5, because a lot of clear effort and work was put into the level design of 5. So, that makes sense. You know, it is, if you were to just pick out 6 and play it by itself, it would probably be a perfectly enjoyable, absolutely worthwhile game. However, someone asked how the classics rank, so give me a moment here. So, well, point to me an example of lazy recycling in this game, and I will certainly consider it a negative hazardous. I'm just going to have to do this manually, aren't I? Because I don't want to screw up the sorting. So, 1 scored a 2.44. 2 scored a 40.29. 3, well, yeah, if we cover FIFA, that's a little bit different. If we ever cover the Formula 1 games, that's probably going to come up as well. I don't even think this same concept really applies in the same way there, because it's not like they do FIFA and then they have to sit down and design a whole new level for each player, right? 8, and then 6 is 56.05. So that would put 5 on top, which we already kind of knew. And then 4, which is deserved. Then 6, which is mostly good because of the ideas and concepts I already came up with. Then 2, then 3, then 1. So to reiterate that very clearly, it goes 5, 4, 6, 2, 3, and 1. And that's a hell of a spread, too. 86 at the high end, 2 at the bottom end. That's just, wow, that's impressive. That's a hell of a spread. Now, that being said, God, don't ever make me review the FIFA games. That would just be a slog. Especially if we reviewed multiple of them. That would be even worse. I'm gonna go ahead and start Mega Man 7 tomorrow. I do have a third stream to deal with today. But, before I chop this off, I want to say, I had good memories of Mega Man 7. Then I did a review of it, and it didn't review particularly well. It was still a net positive, but it was nowhere near as good as I was expecting it to be. However, that was a while ago, and so we're going to have to decide how we do this. And I kind of want to talk that out now, if that's okay. So, my initial thought was, let's just do a blank slate review. Start over. Just kind of, start over from scratch. And then maybe, like, when we're done, compare and contrast the old review with the new review. Or we could start with the old review and build onto / take away from that. I kind of like the former method better, because I think, it's a better way to audit, to actually check ourselves. But what are you thinking? And I want some feedback on this one. My voice is getting croaky. What is wrong with me today? Listen to me. Because, yeah, it's Mega Man 7, we reviewed a little bit more recently than Mega Man 11, but a lot of our concepts and styles have changed since then. Oh, yeah, we'll probably be cheating on Mega Man 7, too. That'll be fun. That'll mean we cheated on 1 and 7. And I'm not even joking. I almost guarantee we will get to the very last boss without cheats, and then we'll probably cheat. That is most likely what's going to happen. I'm just being nice and upfront about that. Apparently everyone agrees with the blank slate idea, which I absolutely think is a superior method, but I did want people's opinions. I want to see something super quick. Because unfortunately, and that's just the nature of these things, I think Shadow Machine is awesome. I'm not sure about that, but I do think Shadow Machine's awesome. Thank you, as always, for watching my show, Shadow Machine. I want to see something really quick. Give me a moment. Because I think 7, 8, 9, and 10 will automatically score worse because of the collection. Although 8's going to get some bangers for its music, because 8 has great music. But anyways, give me a moment here. Let's do this. Hang on. Give me a minute. There we go. That's the wrong resolution. We got to fix that. Apparently there is a built-in cheat just to the collection too, which is take half damage. That's interesting. Meanwhile, Darth Tyrant's just trying to kill me over here, as is per his wont. Yes, I know you can't see it. I haven't decided yet, Zillow. Yep, no, it doesn't have any of those extra features that the later ones had. That is such a shame. I can't even change the resolution of the game. So yeah, all those automatic pluses, we're not giving them to these. Oh, wait, hang on. They have, looks like they might actually have a convenience feature, which is the checkpoint saves. We'll have to figure out how that works specifically. We'll get there. We'll get there. Hang on, I'm trying to get the game even on the screen here. This is a completely different resolution. This is going to be wild to get used to. Hang on, let's do this. Push it over here. What is going on with this resolution? This is just wild. What am I looking at? What is this resolution? Game? There we go. Well, that just looks wild. Behold the stretchedness! God, that's just weird. We can turn the filter on to really make it look terrible, but we're not doing that. We're not doing that. What are our background options? Interesting. Yes, Wide Man returns. Yes, Dr. Willy. And we're going to stop making fun of that one. So let's see how checkpoint saves work. Apparently we cannot make a checkpoint save. Interesting. That's wild. This will be our first Mega Man game with an intro, so that'll be funny. Okay. Before I cut off, thank you, Darth Tyrant. I'm pretty sure it was Darth Tyrant. I should double check that before I say that. Double checking for the one. You make bath time so much fun. Yep, it is. Thank you. Oh my gosh. I got a donation in the middle that I didn't even notice. That was like 4 hours ago. Well, Blue Dragon Fire Blogs, if you happen to see this on the VOD or live, thank you for the donation that I completely missed. I have a rule, for those of you not aware, where I say, hey, if I don't say something out loud, pretend that I didn't get it. And it's a way to just kind of have a double-checking thing to make sure that I get these kind of things. I always check them off camera. I just want to be able to say thank you on camera. So thank you for that. I will put that towards the Metroid block. And Darth Tyran. We'll talk later, Darth Tyran. I want to convince you to put that towards something else. But either way, thank you, Darth Tyran, very, very much. Always appreciate and ever. Thank you. Okay, that is it. That's it for Mega Man 6. I'm going to go ahead and work on the rumination for this, and then tonight we'll be doing D&D, and then tomorrow we start 7. And this is interesting, because we've already reviewed 7. This is our first ever audit run. And I'm a little nervous, especially since 7 did not review particularly well. It was still net positive. It was still a good game. It'll be interesting to see how it lines up, but we will find that out next time. Insert shark joke here.